Okay, boomer.
Down south, hood baby, bang on girls, go crazy, go crazy.
Go stupid. But you smart like an A+ student. Up now, right now, looking for your love right now. La, 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 la. Up now, all around, turn my stomach upside down. La, la, la. I found your hair tie in my car. I could only.
What is up, everybody? Hello. Welcome to another Boomer Council. If you've any idea what's going on here, you'll realize that we're missing one of our key members, the Matt Cave. Unfortunately, he got taken by the vid.
Man down.
He's down for the count right now. He's not doing so hot, and so he's gonna nap a little bit while we do this. So in his place, we've brought in a friend of the community, Green Bear, aka the Beskar. Boner, who cares? I've already been demonetized by that intro anyways. And also, yeah, because I don't want to see 1,000 comments about it, I shaved off my mustache.
Yeah, it
Oh
looks
my God.
good. Got that rat tail off your face.
Ah, man, it's like,
I'm like the only fan of your clean shaven face. I know.
no, trust me, Mrs. X-Wing is the other proponent of that. Believe me. Yeah, she was not a fan.
Don't worry,
She's
guys.
not
It's
a
just
fan.
a filter.
Yeah. I'll take it off halfway through the show. So welcome everybody. Hello chat. How is everybody doing tonight? Welcome. God, we got a lot of people in here. Some new faces too. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Obsession, you're coming to us remote.
Yeah, I'm not home.
No.
I'm not
No.
home. I don't have my
You're-
creature comforts.
Yeah, you're in the wretched hive of scum and villainy. You're in LA right now.
I am. I'm in the land of the lost people.
But for a good reason.
Yeah, I went down there. See, I got my badge. And
Ooh.
I got my wristband. Had to go down there and get some stuff done, and it was pretty easy actually.
Yeah.
The screening wasn't that bad. There were like 25 lanes just coming up. They want you to go in and do the Clear app, put all your vax stuff or your COVID test.
Oh, that's
information.
right. They're doing all the COVID stuff.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so we went there and I had to do that, and then flew out of there and spent an hour and a half in traffic to get back here to the remote location where I got everything set up, and
We're looking forward to your updates for sure. Now it's Wednesday. What are the crowds like down there? Is it already nuts? Because ABJ was already saying like it sucks seeing all the people going to Celebration right now because he's working, for a travel agency, if you will.
Yeah, it was actually it wasn't that bad. I expected there to be a longer line of people to just get seen by somebody, but like I said, there were 25 lines, and they were holding up little green flags saying,
It's early.
"Come see me." I mean, it's not early. They opened at 2. They had all day yesterday,
Oh, okay.
right? Because they were open at I think noon yesterday, and then today they opened from 2 to 8 for COVID screening for get your wristband, so you can just walk right in. You don't have to go see them again. And so yeah, I mean, really, it was pretty mellow. There were a lot of people in front taking pictures of the signs, taking picture of the big banner. They did have some huge banners. The stuff on the street, I did catch a glimpse of a couple of small miniature gonk droids. So that was pretty funny. They were wheelbarrowing them in. I don't know if those were exhibitors or what, but
Nice.
I took a little video. It's not very good. It's not very good at all, but I will put it up here shortly.
See what I mean? The hate is just immediately apparent. You know what I mean?
That's okay though. It looks good.
Ronnie,
Looks
how's your
real-
mom doing, by the way? We haven't
Looks
talked in a
real
while.
good. Looks real
So
Awkward.
we stand on the precipice of a very, very, very important event in Star Wars history, right? We are getting a Disney recreation of a legendary character, Obi Wan Kenobi, and this happens tomorrow night. I can't believe we've been waiting all this time, and now it's right around the corner. Tomorrow midnight, I'm going to be up watching this happen in real time, and I have to tell you, I went from excited to nervous to excited again, and now into like pure fear mode because I know what's going to happen when, I swear to Bob, Friday night, the war begins. I feel like Gandalf standing on the edge of the wall, and he's like, the great battle of our time is beginning. Like, that's where I'm at, because I think this is going to be legitimately like Last Jedi level, not only like YouTube battle, but fandom battle. Everybody's going to be screaming at each other. That's where my mind's at. And I'm wondering if I'm the guy that's like scared of turbulence on a plane. Like, nah, it ain't going to be that bad. It's not that deep, bro. You know what I mean?
First of all, you went ahead and dove down the rabbit hole, so this is your own goddamn fault. Number one, your anxiety is your own.
You can't miss it.
I can miss it. I've missed it.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think he's feeling it at all.
And you chose to dive right down the rabbit hole, and not feet first. You dove head first, no hands forward, to hit the rabbit hole and dive down with Jason Wald and getting on Santa Stream. Like, don't bullshit a bullshitter here, my friend. You did this to yourself. So your anxiety right now is your own, my guy.
Well, the
I'm not
anxiety
feeling
is
it because
founded.
I feel good.
The anxiety is founded on the
I
leaks
feel
and stuff
attacked.
like that. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, if the leaks are accurate, but I mean, yeah, they have been in the past, and we'll see. Unless you've seen a cut of the episode, I believe nothing that comes out of your mouth.
well, good. So you'll just be eventually unhappy.
We'll
But
see.
for now, you're fine. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
for now, I'm great. Why give my see? It's like the worry before that ass beating the dad gives you, right? You're pacing in your room. You're like, man, I got to put on extra underwear. I got to get ready. This is gonna hurt. Oh man, and you're freaking out beforehand, and then you get your ass whooped, and you're like, oh, I can go out and play now. That wasn't that bad, right? You're like in the room pacing while I'm like doing cartwheels outside. Like, oh, he ain't gonna be home for hours.
Okay. All right. Fair. What about you, Beskar? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling like I just want to know who hurt Obsession in his past.
Right?
But
Man, we got some
Everybody.
deep-seated issues from that.
Everybody,
Daddy ain't
No,
gonna beat me
no.
that hard this time.
no, don't do it.
I think
Drop buttons.
I think a lot of you are just
Emotional damage.
Not the gumdrop buttons.
all right. Now that my cheeks hurt. No, anyway. No, I think a lot of Star Wars fans are just in the position where it's just like, all right, what do I do when something good happens to me? Because it's been a while. Let's be honest. You're getting a show that is so hard to mess up. They would have to literally try. The nostalgia that's going to be pouring at us on Friday night on that screen is there's going to be people like, you want to see Theory cry again? It's probably going to happen after Friday night. I'd bet like at least like 70-1 odds, if that makes sense.
I should have saved my mustache until after the crying so I wouldn't look like such a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, at least if I had the mustache, it'd be like, oh, that's a man crying. Now it's gonna be like, wah.
Yeah, but I think we're in for good times, man. Just enjoy the ride. I definitely I stayed as far away from leaks as I possibly could. So I'm
Yeah.
The last interview. No, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just gonna say I've heard like hints, but I'm not diving all the way in there.
The last interview I saw with Ewan, and he was trying not to give anything away. My main takeaway from it was everything he said about Deborah Chow and the fact that this doesn't feel like a show. It feels like a movie because she's writing and directing it all the way through. I'm hoping, it's big hope, that this new Inquisitor character and other new characters that they introduce are accepted because of how well they're going to handle the OT stuff. I don't think like introducing a new character we've never seen before is meant to take away from the story. Like,
Right.
I hope that people can just like, you can separate the two, like if that part of the story is not all for you, there's going to be tons of Vader. Like the Vader stuff is where I'm at. Obi Wan, first of all, obviously, but Hayden coming back is my most hyped thing.
Yeah, and one of the things that Deborah said when she was talking about writing the show was that this is a character-driven story like the Joker, which
yes,
I know they're not going to go that dark, but obviously that's very exciting to hear that they're focusing on Kenobi in that way because, there are side characters in Joker. I think Rev is going to have a lot bigger play in this than obviously side characters in the Joker, but
I think every scene in the Joker where he's by himself in his room thinking about his mom, I'm thinking about all of that with Obi Wan in the cave, bro.
Yeah,
he's just gonna be jokering it up in there.
For your expectations, man.
Yeah, but
That's
he's just gonna be
actually-
watching Luke and stuff and just thinking about the past, bro.
My fear is actually that we just get like a kind of a castaway Obi Wan Kenobi movie, but he's in the desert. So I hope they veer away from that.
Well, and
Did
I
you know
want-
he's functioning?
I want
You
that
know what I
broken
mean?
dude in the
Like,
desert, right?
but
Like,
he's functioning. He's not like
Yeah.
completely secluded. He has a job. Like he has a want to be a part of something at least, unless that is all just to like be scouting. You know what I mean? Who knows?
I can tell you right now, just from watching the trailers, that you're not getting that show. Now I know a lot more, but just from watching the trailers, you can tell it's not going to be that.
well, of course not. They're not going to give us 6 episodes, an hour long, of somebody sitting in the desert, crying over spilled milk, right?
I'd watch it.
Tell you,
I
bro,
mean,
he names the lightsaber. I'm out.
I'd watch it too. I mean, but we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I'm surprised that they're not just opening the convention center and just putting it on the screens and letting the fans go bananas in the convention.
I thought that's what they were going to do.
I was hoping that's what they were going to do, but I don't think so.
They're not, huh? Interesting.
I haven't heard anything about that. I'll find out more tomorrow, but I haven't heard anything about that.
What? Bro, that's some deep
Oh,
dark.
bro,
like-
that's right. I forgot. Kenobi dies too. Shit.
Oh, that's right. Kenobi and Leia die in this show. For sure.
And Luke,
100%.
from what I
Guys, they
what I
have
thought.
to explain the recast. They have to explain the recast.
Here's
Seems
a good
legit.
question.
Just saying.
What's the over/under on which episode Liam Neeson shows up as a ghost? Well, in canon, right, he only shows up as a voice. So
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
but how do we know we're not going to get that it's a ghost and he's invisible, but Obi-Wan doesn't know it's a ghost and he's invisible, kind of,
ooh, I like that, dude.
because like
I like that.
it could be Liam in the outfit he died in, talking to him, and Obi-Wan can't see him. He's like looking around for him, but he's right in front of him. He's like, stop looking for me. You can't see me. I can't do that.
that's
Somebody's gonna complain about it.
Close your eyes, bitch.
But that's the Mortis arc, bro. That's literally verbatim. That's the Mortis arc. Is like I can only manifest here in the nexus of the Force. I can't do this anywhere else, right? I mean, he's outright said it. So, going
Fair.
on that route, I would like to see Obi-Wan be like, Master, I can't see you, and he'll be like, I am in the Force, but you can't see me because, well,
I never
Go
figured
ahead.
out that trick.
I never got taught that. But I'm gonna teach Yoda, and Yoda's gonna teach you, and you're gonna teach Vader, and that's it. Now
I'm gonna
all
teach
will-
Yoda something I couldn't teach myself.
Exactly.
Well, Extreme Recon Army, I thought you were a member already. It doesn't tell me if it's an upgrade or whatever the case may be, but if not, welcome to the family. This one's for you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you, man. Welcome. Oh, dude, what the hell was that, man? What the heck was that?
I don't have a mic in front of me to like aim for a head. Like I don't have a head. I can't. I mean, I
Hey,
can do it. Here. I mean,
Obsession, I
was
know
sad.
I don't
got-
have to say this, but also don't look at the chat. Just
Oh, I'm
stop
not.
it.
I
Yeah, just don't
honestly, my monitor is so far away. in
I
this set.
can't bop comments, but I
I
almost
can't-
bopped one earlier. Guys, I
Wow.
don't know why you're spoiling it in the chat. It's in,
Honestly, I don't-
spoil the
it's in a
chat.
day.
How about this? I'll just put it on the private chat. Go bonkers.
And
Because I
Vori,
don't.
I
yeah.
thought you were a member too.
I can't see
Vori,
it.
I swear to Bob, I thought you were a member as well, but you get a special one.
Is that so? Then how about
We all know that's his favorite movie. So welcome to the family, who's already a moderator of my community as well. Welcome. It didn't renew. Okay, good enough. All right. Well, welcome back to the family. Welcome back to the family. Okay, so like I said, I'm a little bit worried that this is going to be kind of a point of contention. I don't think anything that crazy is going to happen in the first 2 episodes. I don't think the crazy videos are really going to start pouring out until probably the end of this, but we shall see. We shall see. Are you guys staying up for the midnight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it comes out midnight, like Friday,
Tomorrow.
technically. Friday morning.
Tomorrow,
on the
night,
East
tomorrow
Coast,
at
man.
midnight.
It's 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
here.
y'all's time.
Oh, this ain't
Jesus,
happening.
it is 3 a.m. Nope, yeah.
I'm like a 5:30 guy. Probably.
I'm going to be up before work guy now.
Y'all added a
Pretty
new
much.
shill to the shill council?
Felicity,
Damn, she's got
my
you
number,
pegged.
my number one hater.
Welcome
He's
to the
everybody's
club.
number one hater.
Not,
Love that
not
one.
mine. Not mine.
We were
No.
going at it on
Strong.
Twitter earlier.
Not mine.
Well, she loves you. She hates to love you because you're an actual shill.
I am
The
an
shill is to the shill. Yeah.
I am Jack Shillington. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
thank
sure I'm
you.
just bad at it.
Thank you, everybody who re-upped and joined the community. And if you guys haven't already, please do join the community. Why? Do it.
That's why.
That's why. So, I already forgot topic 2. We had something to talk about. The second topic. This is
were
why
on-
you should
well,
write
hold on.
things down.
You were on Kenobi you were on the first 2 episodes. You also have to remember they have to introduce this to the Muggles, right? So
Do they?
anybody who's under a rock, they got to do at least 15 minutes of
Exposition.
of some background on this for the Muggles, right? If not, they got to dive into it at some point, because I mean, there are people who live under rocks. There are people who this is going to be their first entrance. I don't know what rock they've been living under, because even the lizards that live in the rocks in the desert know about Mando. But yeah, I think that they're going to
Just
have to
imagine Mando showing up.
they're going to have to do a couple of
It'd be
couple
outrageous.
little bits and bobs.
Dude, hot take is somehow Grogu gonna be worked into this whole thing somehow. I know this is nuclear, and
you
I want to
better-
know. I want to know in the chat. It's a 1 if you think he is, and a 2 if you don't think he is. A 1 in the chat if you think Grogu's gonna show up somehow, and a 2 if you don't think he is.
In
Are we
Kenobi,
talking a hint? Are we
Kenobi,
talking any
yes.
kind of connection?
Any reference, anything with
Yeah,
this could be a flashback to Order 66. This could be anything. Do you think Grogu's going to have any kind of appearance in this?
I mean, I think we have to have Order 66 at the very least.
We got to
So
throw
it's
Nathan Emmert up
possible.
on the
if
screen
we
real
see
quick.
Order 66, I could see us
I see-
seeing
I say 2,
R2
though.
taking him away, and like Anakin not looking twice because it's R2. So, and the only
He is
that's,
thinking yes.
that's the only way I could see them doing it is if they have somebody that's not a threat to the Jedi, like R2. That's why my R2 theory goes so deep, is because he's not a threat to the 501st. He's not a Jedi, so nobody's paying attention to him, right? And Anakin is not going to give him a second look, just beeping down the hallway, doing his thing. So, I mean, that kind of, if we see R2 with Grogu, that's the only way I could see it happening.
I think people are going to start getting mad if they don't tell us what the hell happened. Like, how do you
Save
end
it
up
for
with that
Mando.
gang, bro?
Save it for Mando. I mean, like, people
problem
aren't going
is
to be
this is-
unhappy if you don't go. But if you go back to Order 66, people are going to be happy. That's like the least explored portion of the timeline. Like, we've gotten almost nothing for Order 66. You know what I mean? Little bits here and there, little hints, little things going on. Like, give me that. I want the whole story, left, right, upside down, and sideways. I want to see arms laying in the hallway and people like, oh fuck. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, they just did come out and say that that they have a basically a mature rating coming out on Disney Plus. So there's going to be, I can't remember what show it is. It's Multiverse of Madness. When Multiverse of Madness drops on Disney Plus, they've already put out a warning saying any children under this age, this may be graphic in nature, watch your kids, whatever. But
I think we're up to TV 14,
I think it's 14.
something like that, PG 13.
And I mean, like I said, I think Mando kind of cracked the seal on that as far as dragging a head in a bag and plopping it on a table. I mean, he cut it.
Multiverse of Madness went in too.
And
Don't
so
say that word around Obsession.
I feel
Don't
like
even say that word.
I don't think we'll see her at all.
No, it's all
This,
good.
this
Say
has this has nothing to do with her. She's got her own show down the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think that we are coming up on the darker side of things, and I think potentially Acolyte could be that first Star Wars content that breaks that MA-17 warning
Ooh, that's a topic for later.
and then leads in. So
That's something we're going to be talking about for sure. Andy P, my good friend, with a $7.22. How do you $7.20? How'd you even do that? I feel like you can only use a slider. Whatever. Anyways, what is Jar Jar Binks' favorite food? Miso soup.
What the hell is even that?
That's what I'm like. Oh, I've never heard of that one. Sorry.
Yeah, I've never heard that one. That's a Mike Porter
Jar,
dad
get outta
joke,
here.
my guys.
That is a Mike Porter dad
That's
joke
a
of
Mike
the day.
Porter dad joke if I've ever heard one.
Look, he's a very good
Mhm.
friend of mine, so we're going to allow it. We're not going to ban him from the YouTube channel. Okay. All right. But thank you very much. Now, have you guys heard, and I don't feel like this is a leak related to the
the
story,
story
but
of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
have you ever heard? There was a hint, and I didn't go to the article because I don't want to know. There was a hint at a possible cameo by Jar Jar Binks.
Perfect. I love it. I
Mhm.
want Mr. Best to come back and reprise his role
I'm up
as a
for
Jar
it, dude.
Jar. I am
Yeah,
down
same.
for it. I tweeted him some love a couple days ago. I'm gonna
That would
tweet him
be
some
cool.
more love tonight.
Oh,
Nah, that would put a bounty on him. That would put such a huge mark. Like, I don't know. I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
I
I don't
mean,
like it. I don't even like it a little
Damn
bit.
it! Why would it? But why does it? Why does it make sense though?
Doesn't it though? And that's what
it could.
sucks.
Like that's what really bothers me. Damn
There-
it! Why? Who said that?
I feel like that's a
Banned
mystery
forever.
they're gonna hold on
Banned.
to.
Get him out of here.
You
Well-
think somebody's gonna hold on? What do you mean somebody's gonna hold on to that?
The longer they keep that a mystery, the longer we've got a big reason to watch that show. Not that like Mando needs it entirely, but
That's a
that's
good point.
keeping me watching. You know,
That's a good point.
well,
hell,
they
it even
didn't-
made me watch Boba Fett a little bit. So
well, and they didn't leave him gone long. I mean, he wasn't gone very long in the story arc.
Jesus, fuck. Dude, that's
Like,
rough.
that's
You-
perfect.
You don't want to see him as the circus clown, Jar Jar?
Well,
I do
dude, here's
kinda
the
wanna see
thing. Like, I feel like so much of this stuff has been kind of like a renaissance and a revitalization and a kind of like reappreciation of everything that happened with the prequels. You know what I mean? And I think it was Andrew. I think it was Andy P. sent me a text earlier. No, it was a comment on one of my videos, and he said it only took like 3 failed movies and $4 billion for people to finally appreciate what they already had.
I mean, you know my take on it. I blame the prequel haters for all the mishegas that went on. You know.
But didn't you hear Ewan and Hayden talking in
No.
Agree to Disagree?
No, I didn't. So stop right there. I didn't. I listened to nothing involving
You didn't
this.
watch
no-
that?
there's
no
no-
spoilers
no.
there.
There's
I can't
nothing.
know that.
Yeah.
I can't know that going into an article.
That's
right?
hype building.
It's hard
man.
enough to
That's not-
scroll
Well, no, it
Twitter.
wasn't
it's hard
a-
enough.
Yeah,
It's
it
hard
wasn't.
enough
It was a video from
Right.
Lad Bible or whatever that thing is
Anything
called.
these two are in, I am staying as far away from. Any
Okay, well,
interview,
You
anything
think
like
both
that.
of them are just Tom Holland Spider-Man? They're just gonna like just come out.
I
popping
don't-
out
I
all
don't
the
know,
secrets.
dude. Hayden's
Tom
been out
Holland's
the,
so
Hayden's
bad
been
at
out the
that,
game
dude.
for a long time. He may have forgot how to PR. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, spoiler alert, they didn't.
Yeah,
Well,
they did.
yeah, I mean, I've got
Spoiler
one more
alert.
day. I think, spoiler alert, I'm going to wait it out.
So essentially, what I'm trying to talk about is, and I made a video on it this morning, was that essentially what happened with the prequels. Both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen don't blame the fans. What they said was really it was the critics that started this kind of big, downturn in the prequels. It really took a big turn when the critics were like, "Oh, this is trash," blah blah blah. And Ewan, not once when talking about it, ever said, "I blame the fans for this," or "I think the fans did this." And Hayden doesn't either. It was about the critics and what the critics had to say about the movie, and the critics are what upset George Lucas. It wasn't the fans sending him mail. It was the critics saying, "This is trash. This is horrible. It lost the magic of the original trilogy." And Ewan goes on to say that really, more than anything, he set out to make something different, and that's what they hated about it.
There's a lot of fans that don't like the prequels. It's not just critics. So let's be real. That's an argument of contention for a lot of people. You have your prequel haters, you have your sequel haters. They're out there. It's not just a couple critics like Siskel and Ebert that gave him 2 thumbs down.
It's literally only Star Wars Santa. That's the
Right-
only person
right
on this
now.
planet that hates the prequel. It's just Star Wars Santa.
But
That's
my
it.
point is there are people
Right
out there,
now.
and this was before social media, and since social media has taken off, you've gotten to see more of that. Yeah, I still blame the fans. I don't care what those two have to say.
Dude,
They're-
I'm sorry I just cut you off too, but it's like I heard you like say it this morning, and I was thinking to myself, like, even like when before The Last Jedi came out. I think like that was the turning point. Like you were seeing a lot of prequel hate on forums. Like it was there. It wasn't
Right.
I mean, I guess I get what you're saying is like the critics kind of like push that turn in fandom, but like everybody hated the prequels for a long time, except like I don't know, maybe younger generation is looking at it even more fondly now. I don't
Everybody
know.
who watched it live at, in the movie theater who loved it.
I loved it like a lot, but I don't know. I never got it, but then the sequels definitely like erased all that.
So Sheev made me feel real old yesterday. I was watching his, I like to give all of you guys your watches, and
I'll be right back.
I was watching his last Clone Wars arc, and he's like, oh well, I love the prequels because I was born in 99 and that's when they came out, and I was like, thanks for caging it for me, bro. I was graduating high school literally like the next week after episode 1 came out, so he totally age checked me without even being in the room, which was score points for him, check 1. But that's a lot of it, is that there wasn't this large social media. You had to really dig to go complain about things back then, right? You had to find AOL chat rooms. You had to go find Earthlink chat rooms. That's really all there was. There wasn't this big social media buzz. It was AOL was the big hot thing back in the early 2000s, because you could chat unless you knew computers and could get in, DOS-based chat rooms or specific IP chat rooms if you knew what you were doing. But really, a lot of people didn't, and so they went to these AOL chat rooms, and there was a lot of hate because I was in there. I was in those chat rooms listening to these people badmouth it, and I was like, what movie
I must have been in different chat rooms.
You must have been, bro.
Honestly,
I don't know what you were doing, but
Goddamn AOL.
the police reports say it all. That's all.
corrupting all the youth of America.
that was before the NSA was tallying everything we did online. They were still worried about phone conversations back then. But that's my point, is that this stuff wasn't mainstream. There wasn't a Facebook, there wasn't a MySpace, there wasn't a Twitter to voice your opinion back then. You either had to be on AOL and be in one of those chat rooms that got full with 40 people or some shit like that, or you had to go and actually find conversations to argue with people in person, which is what we did a lot back then. And there were a lot of people that were like, oh, what was that trash? And I was like, that was pretty wicked, bro. I don't know what movie you guys were watching, but that was pretty wicked for a first movie, So I don't blame just the critics. I think there's a lot of fan hate that goes in that, because the critics back then, it wasn't immediate. You didn't get the audience response right out of the gate. You had to wait to see what people were saying.
And I've seen videos of people who came out of the Phantom Menace and they were like, what was that?
I was cross-eyed, dude. I was like, I got to see that again. I was literally like, I don't know where to look. There was so much going on.
Well, I'm talking about people that were salty about it when they came out of the Phantom Menace, and they're like, I don't understand what happened.
Who do you think that was? Do you think that was a majority of older Star Wars fans or newer Star Wars fans, or a mix of both?
Well, the obviously the interviews that I saw were from older folks, right? I won't say old at all by any stretch of the imagination, but 25 plus probably at that point.
And so you feel like now, the younger fans, us, the kids that went to the prequels, loved them, are grown up now, and the majority of them are the ones that don't like the sequels, but are diving deep into their love for the prequels. Kind of, sort of. And where I'm going with this is kind of this is what I thought about when The Last Jedi first came out. I was like, God damn, that is the most ambitiously different feels Star Wars, but at the same time, this is fucking crazy to me personally. Just the things they were trying to do, the places they were trying to go. I feel like that's why people hated it, because it was so different. And so for me, it's the same vibe with the prequel hate from the OT. That's just and I hope that this story they're telling now is gonna just connect all that shit and make everybody love it again.
Because hate is the easiest thing to be out there, right? And it cuts through the easiest. So hate to me is hate. whether it's
I don't know
prequels,
how
sequels.
people don't see it though. Like it's all this is happening all over again, man. Exactly
large-
like it did in the 90s.
They were
early
not cheap,
2000s.
bro. That cost a shit pile of money to make.
So
The thing that
covered
I
everything in green screen.
the thing that I hear the most from the people back then that didn't like the prequels was that it was too shiny, right? Because the OT was like that beat up penny, right? And so they felt like the prequels were just too shiny. And I had to sit back and explain to them, this was the height of this republic. This was like
when everything was shiny.
this was the most prosperous that everybody was before a war, right? And that's what you have to maintain is like this, you get this planet that's got these shiny, beautiful ships and they're colorful and they're glossy. We're used to the Falcon and a beat up ass X-Wing and some TIE fighters, right? We're used to the Empire style
Talk about me like that.
old penny, right? Where these people didn't know how to look at this shiny penny and go, oh, I'll get it. This is supposed to, why is it nicer than the new stuff? And I'm like, dude, it's before a war. Once the war breaks out, look at the ships. They're nothing new gets made unless it was Empire related or war related. So you have to explain it to them like that, and then I got a better response. But a lot of people just didn't get it.
Well, and this is going to be the next topic of the night, and this is something that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on. So obviously, Kenobi week, like you said, T. Davidson, I know, man, I'm hyped for it. It's going to be an interesting week for sure. I'm really interested to see what the internet does in the next 48 hours. I think it's going to be very interesting. But for me, this is something that goes back into the High Republic too, right? So we had the Republic, which is supposed to be the nice and shiny era where everything is fine and happy and dandy. And then they kind of tacked on this extra High Republic where everything is extra super nice and shiny and dandy. And something I saw in an explanation from Leslie Headland was that this is a time where the good guys are winning. And that's why everything is so overtly like shiny and nice. You've got, Jedi walking around in white robes and stuff like that. And this is supposed to be, and remind me correct me if I'm mistaken here. This is 100 years before the Phantom Menace is where the Acolyte is supposed to occur, right?
Yep, that's what she said.
So is there a massive difference between 100 years before TPM and TPM where we have something happen where now Jedi don't look like, Southern Baptist priests walking around in white robes and stuff like that and shiny, cloudy cities and stuff? And this is something I want to talk about because Acolyte has been a point of contention in the minds of the fans because of Leslie Headland and an interview that she gave where she talked about putting her agenda and her story into a Star Wars story, which caused a lot of, it was a big kerfuffle. Like a lot of people were like, get that shit out of here. And Hawks, apparently you've got a standpoint that's going to say like, nah, fam, it ain't like that. Let me tell you why.
Yeah, and I still don't know where that article is. I know where the videos are, and I know the interpretations of the articles in the videos. She's never said anything about forcing her agenda into any of this shit, bro. She just has not.
And even if she did, though, even if she muttered those words, we don't know what her experience is. Everybody's expectation and everybody's instant thought is, oh well, this is about something about her sexuality or something. This could be her life experience, right? Maybe she's gone through real dark times, right? Maybe she's gone through, I don't know, something super super tragic that she's putting in here that she can relate to. It's not necessarily about her agenda as a female or trans person.
She 100% said that in the article. And look, I'm not trying to crap on it because I think it could be really cool. I think a Sith story is something we've been severely lacking in Star Wars. I should say in the expanded universe, it's all over the place. But on the big screen, when it comes to movies, shows, things like that, we're really lacking in a Sith story. And so I want to be excited about it. But Hawks, I told you before we even got on, I was like, I'm going to lean on you for this one. Tell me about what's going on.
It's fine. Like, I want someone to send me the article where she specifically said, I'm going to put this in here because I am this. everywhere I go and everywhere I read, it's the people asking the questions. It's the magazines wording it in a specific type of way. A lot of this shit is happening during Pride Month. It's gonna come up, man. And if you guys would humor me, like, this is a super long response to a question, but for me, it's pretty eye-opening as to exactly how she feels about her position at Lucasfilm and what her job is.
That's a whole different problem, Stanley's.
Yeah, and a lot of that shit is like,
problem.
yep, and a lot of people are basing their hate on that too, and I just feel like none of that is connected. But if you guys don't mind, I'll read this. I'm curious to what you feel about it because she's really like speaking real like shit here. So this is coming from the person asking the question too. So she responds to the way the question's asked. And I just want you guys to pay attention to like what she's saying. Sorry, it's gonna be a lot, but bear with me. I think it's worth it. So
man, he had to moisten up before this one.
For real, like okay. Headland has been asked a lot about being the first queer woman to run a Star Wars series. The Wrap asked Headland if the fact that the question itself regarding the pressure and honor that comes with being the first to hold that title is problematic when that responsibility becomes the focus of people, fans, us, directly asking her that question. It is an interesting question, actually, when you ask it like that, when you ask it that way. You're right. A lot of people have asked me that, and I've kind of given different answers to it, Headland said. But when you phrase it that way, I do wonder why people are asking me that. Like, we aren't asking Disney that question. She laughs. Like, when people say, do you feel responsibility? What are you going to do about it now that you've been gifted this position? Which I feel very grateful for. For me, I really feel, all I really feel is gratitude and the pressure that comes with creating anything, period, let alone something as important as Star Wars. But you're right, there is kind of a vibe of be careful. Like, they hired me, she laughs again. I wonder if we should be asking the artists that question, or should we be asking the studios and the corporations those questions, and the networks those questions? And actually, I think that they do get asked them pretty often, but I think that they're more of a responsibility in the realm of hiring. For me, my job is to do my job. She laughs again, which is to create and run a show and produce a show. Headland added, I think that there's an enormous amount of pressure that comes with that, no matter what. It's very hard. It's a hard job because you're doing something creative in an industry that is not necessarily run by creative people. It's run by economically minded people, and it's run by people that are looking at art in terms of how many subscribers you get and how much money do you make. And it's kind of like any other industry that folds itself into capitalism. Dollar becomes king. It becomes very important. And as creative people, that isn't necessarily why you got into this game, but it becomes something we have to start navigating pretty quickly. There's always responsibility. I just think that your world gets bigger as you go more and more professional with your work. The pressure is going to get higher no matter what. Creating a diverse writer's room for the Acolyte is important to Headland, not just in terms of staffing writers of different races, genders, sexual orientations, but also the varying levels of Star Wars franchise familiarity. What I noticed is that most of the scripts and samples that I really responded to, they were Star Wars fans, Headland said. Most of the people that I met with were people that were either really big fans of the franchise, but maybe not as familiar with The Mandalorian, The Clone Wars, producer Dave Filoni that works in The Clone Wars, and hadn't played the video games. And then there were people like myself that have watched all of The Clone Wars, played Fallen Order, played Knights of the Old Republic, and have also done a lot of RPGs, including Edge of the Empire. This is shit like most fans have not done. She's read all of the EU books, all of them. So I kind of felt like I was very into Star Wars. So I didn't necessarily look for people who were as into Star Wars as I was. As much as I was interested in why people were interested in Star Wars. So it wasn't that I sought out people specifically who had not. It was more that I was looking for people who I responded to their work anyway. And then I was like, what's your way into Star Wars? And what are the part? But like, for real, like, this is shit like I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? That was a fun one.
I have questions first. What has she done?
Russian dolls,
Nothing of consequence.
sleeping with other people.
That was an awesome show. Russian Dolls was
a few
awesome.
A few shows.
There was
I
another
couldn't
one.
do Russian Doll. I
And
wasn't
she's
a big
won
fan
a lot
Russian Doll.
you know, she's won awards for these shows too. So she's
No,
not
no.
like
I was just curious.
nobody.
She
She's
is
definitely not a nobody in the Star Wars knowledge. Like, more recently, she's talked about all the EU shit she knows.
She knows a
And that's
lot
shit
about
I
Star
don't even
Wars.
know.
Yeah, she's been through. So that's the thing, is that she's been through a lot of EU content, and that's where you have to give some credit where it's due. There is that this is a chick who knows Star Wars deeply. 100% could sit down on this panel and talk about anything, and probably beat at least one or two of us up on EU content, which is fine. And that's awesome. But I did also, Risman made it a point to send me all of the articles with all of the things, with all of the shit where she was talking about being woke as fuck and wanted to put it into the stories. And
Yeah,
it's
but-
all there.
now
That's
is
weird you
she
didn't send it to me.
is she just directing?
I'll send them to you.
Or is she writing?
She's
them
right.
as-
She's writing them.
She's writing and directing every episode.
With Kathleen technically as the showrunner, and I don't know who wrote that in an article, but that doesn't seem right that Kathleen would be a showrunner for Acolyte.
That's what worries me. Kathleen Kennedy is like all about this show.
I'm so over that shit. I'm so done with Kathleen Kennedy, and I don't mean that in the way of like, oh, fuck Kathleen Kennedy. I mean that in the way of like, I'm just tired of hearing her name. Because everything that happens and somebody puts KK on it, she's not as involved as you think she is. She's not. She's not part of the creative side of this shit. So like,
It's not
she
so
needs-
much as
she needs to go. That's the bottom line. Like, KK just needs to go. And I don't mean that from her capability to run a business. I don't mean that with her marketing, which has been atrocious, and all those different things. She just needs to go so that there's a fresh start.
What have
That's
I been
all I'm
sa-
saying.
What have I been saying?
So
for a
nobody
year?
responded to any of that headland shit other than it's just fucking Hollywood bullshit.
Pretty much. That's what they say.
Uh,
Like I said, I think let's number one, let's judge her.
Okay,
for her
no,
body.
hold on. Let's come back to that. Let's give Hawks
It's not
his,
important, bro. It's
his
not.
fair due. His
I'm
fair
over
due.
it.
Well,
I'm
but
already
I'm-
over it.
My thing is like, let's judge her on her body of work in Star Wars, right? If everybody gave Robbie
I
Rod,
have, and it's not good.
you've seen her Star Wars scripts. You've seen her show already.
I have seen her body of work as the head of Lucasfilm.
I'm not talking about Kathleen. Back it up.
Leslie
get the
Headland?
hate. Get the hate
You
off
moved on
front of
past
your
Leslie, no.
brain.
Fuck,
Let's
bro.
jump back
Oh,
to the
no,
subject
I wanted
matter.
to go back to Leslie Headland and make
We
sure
are
that
going back to Leslie Headland. You're staying
Okay.
on Kathleen.
Okay.
I'm saying, how about we judge this young lady by her body of work before we go and put judgment on her, regardless of the things that she says before her show comes out? Because I guarantee you that Robbie Rod has said some shit over the years that people would find offensive or whatever, right? So how about we just let this woman put her work on the screen and then we judge her? Because because Robbie Rod came out and made an awful series in comparison to everything else that's been put out, and everybody was so, yay, it's Robbie Rod, this is good, and it was awful in
Do you
comparison to
remember
what
how fucking excited we were
yeah,
that Bobby
I do,
Rodriguez
and that's
was
what I'm
doing
saying.
that?
So I hope everybody is surprised at the quality of this woman's work, because you're not even giving her a shot
It's a
before
hard
she
sell.
comes out
Obsession.
and sets a frame, a single drawing, a rendering, anything. Everybody has already crucified
She
this
sold
woman
me in those two
as-
paragraphs.
as
I feel like I wasted my
as
fucking breath.
canceled because of some interviews that came out before her
man.
show was even off the ground.
Dude, how sold were we on Robbie Rod when he was like, he's shooting stuff in the backyard with, and look what happened. It's
And I
trash.
guarantee this woman probably has more Star Wars knowledge in her little finger than Robbie Rod has in his entire body. So, who's going to make a better
Did you know
show?
that?
At the end of this, I'm going to say that her show makes Robbie Rod's show look like he did shoot it in the backyard with his kids, because
That'd be
that's
great.
how.
That'd be awesome.
I'm
I'm totally
willing-
up for it. I'm
I am
100%
willing to
down.
say
I
that
don't
is going
fucking
to be
believe
the
that
case.
for even a half a second.
Because even with all of the other shit that she has said in the past, if she came out in an article and said the body of work is the most important thing to me, and knowing the EU and knowing all of these stories from stem to stern will help me make a better story for Star Wars, that's more information and that's a better outlook than all kill or no filler.
She said both. So she actually has stated both 100%. She's
regardless.
like, how does it, in the article, because I did read it, I want this information tip to tail before I go and bring it onto the internet and talk to people about it. You know what I mean? I need to know exactly what she's thinking. And reading the article, she clearly does have a massive amount of respect for the original trilogy characters, for legacy characters, and how scary it is dealing with that. Because the bottom line is, at the end of the article, she comes out and she says, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the pressure of having to deal with legacy characters because it's a fucking huge burden, which was nice to hear that, like, okay, you actually give a shit about how they feel. But we've heard that lip service from other directors, from other writers. We've heard this stuff before. And so this is where we get to the point where I'm like, and I'm kind of with you, Obsession, that it's like, I don't care what you say before the show. I have to watch the show. And then I'm probably going to rip on you. If it's shit, I'm definitely going to rip on you. But this is one of those things where it's getting tough in the Star Wars universe because we have these directors, we have these writers who want to play in Star Wars for like a year and then they fuck off. We need somebody that we can trust that's going to stay for like 5 years, 6 years, and deal with this content and keep the continuity and do something big. But
well, I think,
bro, none of these people are even given a chance to gain trust. You got to be willing.
That's what I'm saying.
These fans, these fucking fans, people. No offense, bro. These fucking people in the chat who aren't even listening to the words that I'm trying to fucking help you.
Hawks, you must be too new to YouTube. You can't look at the chat and then judge your argument off of chat. It doesn't make any
sense to me that the 2 paragraphs that I just read for these people in the chat, and then I got to read shit like that question was a fucking layup to them.
Hawks always gets triggered by the chat.
It's just wild, bro. Because no one's paying attention.
But these are the people
not paying attention.
But these are the people that
creators
also
let creators create. I've been preaching that shit on my channel for 2 years.
But that's why
release the air cut. Let these people do their goddamn jobs.
That's why things like
I love it when it gets triggered like that. It's my favorite. He's so mad, Hawks.
It's even, but look, go back a little further, right?
That's why you're concerned about the Kenobi show right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not out here shit talking it.
But look, here's the thing: you go back to
bad. Will you not be?
Why would I not talk shit about
Grand
it
Inquisitor
if it's bad?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So I didn't look up an article to see is the Grand Inquisitor gonna be bad?
Kenobi if it's bad. That's what I'm saying. Period. And the fact that people are gonna say a show is bad, but the arguments are superficial, like up here, base level. Like people are not fucking coming to me with any substantial arguments. Everything that Leslie Headland just said is pretty goddamn substantial.
That's awesome, but it's lip service.
And let Obsession talk.
Well, you have to remember that's still lip service to us at this point, right? Because we heard the same thing from Robert Rodriguez.
Right, but you put immediate faith in a guy that shot a treatment in his backyard with toys. And this guy gets an automatic pass at being the greatest thing since sliced bread. Right. And then he comes out and shits all over your favorite character. Now I hate him. But my point is, you're one of the few that are like, oh, it's not his fault. There's a lot of people that are like, it's not his fault. And I'm like, well, you're looking at him.
Well, him and John. I mean, there's no safe party in what happened with Book of Boba Fett.
But my point is, you guys gave him this huge roaring intro.
Right.
To Star Wars, having never directed a fucking piece of content in Star Wars, right? Because he did this thing in his backyard that I could do in our backyard.
Though he did in Mando season 2.
Okay, great. He directed one episode, right? Great. You did an amazing job, and then you literally put your dick in a door and slammed it, right? So let's be real. You did a great job for 5 minutes. You showed the team you could do the job, and then you decided to go a completely different direction with it. And literally come out and tell us that this is going to be the best Star Wars show you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
All I know is Deborah Chow hasn't come out shouting
And it
And I
hurt
love
thriller.
that about, dude. I'm
Right?
loving
Hey,
that about her.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling good. Like,
but Leslie can't even get a fair shake. Is my point,
Well,
because
and
she's done interviews in the past. Robert Rodriguez has done interviews in the past that did not do him any service, but automatically he gets a pass.
But
because-
was it about like his sexuality and stuff like that?
Doesn't
Like,
matter. Triggers are triggers.
Well,
no
it
matter.
does. It does, and I'm going to tell you why. Give me a minute to like talk about this, because this is something that's important. And I'm going to tell you, the most important part is that when Robert Rodriguez came out and he started doing interviews about what was going to be happening with the show and why he was excited and all that different stuff like that, there was nothing about his sexuality or his
He's not
orientation
gay.
or diversity and
He's
stuff
not
like
gay. If he was gay,
okay, hold on. Yes,
in the
yes,
article,
I get
it would be
I get
the
Okay,
first
all right.
question in the
fair
article,
point.
Awesome. Okay, why?
because
Why?
that's how journalists work.
Because believe it or
That's
not,
how
no,
they
no,
get
no, no,
clicks.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Stop. Cut the floor. Why? Why does it matter?
because
Why does it
believe or
matter
not,
what you? No.
because Believe
No,
it or
no, no,
not,
no, no.
there's
No,
a
I'm not
majority
done.
of
I'm not
people out
done.
here who care about that kind of shit, bro.
I'm not done.
And a lot of them are Star Wars fans.
If you're making a Star Wars show, why do you care what you like to bang? I
The
don't.
fans care.
Okay, hold on.
The fans care what the show writer likes to bang.
Time
What
out.
the fuck?
Time out. How about this? Ask
When
the
you say it
journalists
like
that
that,
question
sure,
that are
yeah,
asking those questions first. How about we ask the journalists that are asking those questions first? Because those are the people that are doing the interviews and asking the questions so they can get their clicks that Leslie is LGBTQ and she is directing Star Wars. That's the headline you read, not newbie to Star Wars coming with great eyesight and great
Massive
forethought
Star
into
Wars
what's
knowledge.
coming for Star Wars. No,
I would rather click on that.
right.
all
But my
day.
point is that is not the mainstream.
Pay
That's not
attention to the
Twitter.
websites
That's not
that are
the
running
click,
fucking
right? The
articles.
click is a lesbian is directing Star Wars that wants to put her agenda in Star Wars. And immediately all of you clicked it,
And then you go
because
and
you're
read the
automatically
article, and they're
Roger.
not saying that.
right?
Read
And so
read the.
my point being is if Robbie Rod
Read
was
the article,
gay,
man.
if Robbie Rod was gay, the first question would be, how does this fit? How does Star Wars fit into your sexuality, Robert? Right?
That is
That would
going
be
to
the
be the
first
first
question,
thing. When there's a
right?
gay
So
man
it's-
directing, the first thing they're going to ask him is,
Yeah.
how does
I mean,
it
look,
feel
dude, I
to be the
appreciate
first
what you're
openly
trying to
gay
say.
man running
That
a
the
Star
body
Wars
of work
show.
and
That's
what the
going to
person has
happen.
said in the past should be what we go off of.
Are you
But
two
what-
gonna kiss or what?
But
Come on,
what you're saying is
it's getting close.
that he gets a
I'm gonna
pass.
kiss everyone in the chat.
He
So I'm
gets
gonna-
a pass, but she doesn't even get a shake. Right? You directed
because
an
he
awful Star
didn't
Wars.
lead off that way. And what I'm trying, apparently,
She's
there's
going to
like
make
this whole
the best
section of
Star
data.
Wars show out of everybody. Watch.
I hope you're right.
Just
That'd
so
be awesome.
the
And
universe
that's the
puts
thing.
everybody
And
on
that's the
blast.
thing is that like we both feel that way, right? I mean, Greenberry, you feel the same way. Like
I don't
We
we
want
don't know
that.
enough about it yet.
the
man.
only thing
Like,
I give a shit about is good Star Wars. I don't care what you want to bang. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I don't care if you want to tuck it inside out and make it something else
Right, but
or
that's
add
not
boobs
that's
or
not the subject
whatever the
of
case may
of
be. I don't
the-
care what you love or what you don't love.
But
I
is
don't
that
give
the
a shit.
subject of the video, right? The subject of the video that you'll
What
make
video?
that most YouTubers will make is Leslie's a lesbian and she wants to make that part of her Star Wars. Not
Literally, don't get me wrong.
Leslie's
I
a
don't care either. That's
boss.
why I'm trying to
She's
read
the
about the other
person that
shit.
said that.
That's why
If
I'm
she
reading
got
into
didn't
asked
say
a
that, then
question.
people
She didn't
wouldn't
come
feel
out on
that way.
Twitter and go, "I'm a lesbian and I want to put my stuff in Star Wars." No, she got asked by a
No,
magazine
she did say that
on
And
Twitter.
If it was
On
not,
Twitter.
no, it's a fucking article.
But did she
quoted.
come out on Twitter or on YouTube or on
What
her
are you
Facebook
about
and go,
Twitter?
and go, "Hey, I'm a lesbian and I'm putting this in my movie"? No, she was asked a question by a journalist and she answered the question truthfully, and everybody thinks that that's her immediate thing that she's going to do. No, the journalist asked a question. She answered the question honestly. She didn't come out on her personal media and say, "I'm making everything an acolyte about girls on girl action." She
But
never
answered
said
the
anything.
question saying, "I want to
She
interject
get a lot
my."
more clicks.
right? Like you got me up right here. I'm ready to go.
The problem
saying.
is that, and look, here's the deal. Look, I'm not hating on anything. I'm trying to be objective here. The problem is, and when you look at the big Star Wars fan base, I feel like a lot of times we get in these like 4-person things, and really,
He probably got a call. He said if he got a call, he might have to bone.
No, he was talking, but his camera wasn't moving. He may have
Maybe he
may
lost
have
connection.
dropped.
Oh, okay. That was,
Something, but he
okay.
looked
All right.
frozen.
All right.
Good, you
So-
guys. I'm going home.
I thought for a minute, I'm like, did this get too heavy for him that he had to bounce? But no, here's the thing is you have to, when we're talking about this stuff, I'm not talking about me only personally. I'm talking about the entirety of the Star Wars fan base. This isn't just me talking. I'm trying to put in like all perspectives and all thoughts about this stuff. You have to remember that we live in a society. We live in a society where when you do something like that and you do put some form of an agenda in anything, it's immediately going to turn people off.
Okay.
And you can argue until you're blue in the face about why that's not important, but that doesn't matter. That
Right.
doesn't matter if you don't think it's just the way things are.
It's not the way things are.
It is the way things are.
You read an article from the
It's the
perspective.
way things are for some.
You read an article
Obsession,
from the
you're saying
perspective.
you're saying
No.
You're talking to
You-
me. You have to talk about the fan base.
The fandom reads an article written by a person, not an autobiography article. This isn't an open letter to the internet, to the Star Wars fandom. So you're going to get biased by the person writing the article, right? To get their agenda to the masses, right? Not Leslie's. Their objective is not to get Leslie's word to the masses the way Leslie wants to portray it. They ask a set of questions. They cherry pick the questions that they want
It's like that bitch in Harry Potter.
to promote their agenda, not necessarily hers, is my point. That's what I'm saying is if you're going to sit here and throw stones at Leslie, how about take a step back and look at what the people writing these articles are also writing about other people, right?
So if that were true, why would she say that then?
Because she's being honest, open, and answering questions that the journalist asked her.
Why would she say what? What did she say that? What'd she say?
She said
Here.
she wants to introduce
I'm sorry, I
her.
didn't send these to you yet.
She wants to introduce her, basically her
Perspective
perspective
into Star Wars.
into Star Wars. That's
Her
exactly
sexuality,
it. She
yeah.
didn't say. She didn't say I want to have girl on girl action in Star Wars.
She did not know. There was no point in any article where she said, "I can't wait to have two lesbians make out in
Right.
Star Wars."
She can't wait. I
Exactly.
can't wait for
So it's
dude
the-
on
it's the
Jedi. and
people
Jedi.
Wait, she didn't say that.
No.
No, she.
Come
Of
on.
course, she
He's
didn't
out.
say that.
He's out. Green Bear's out.
That's it. But you know what I'm saying? I guess that's my point.
To
is
be
if
honest
she
with you,
came
I'm
out,
not watching Star Wars anymore either.
if
I've been
she
crying
came out
for that.
on any social media, on anywhere, any public forum, and made a press announcement saying I'm going to introduce the LGBTQ community in my show, then I would say you guys have a great point of view. But if you're basing this on the articles of people that are publishing people like, oh, I don't know, Elena Dockerman, then you know what? Maybe I'm-
Doctorman.
she
Get her
doesn't
name
even
right.
she doesn't even deserve to be right. Okay, I almost now from now on, Dockerman is her
And
name.
it's
He's totally
Eliana
mansplaining
Doctorman.
right now.
And
Eliana
so
Totally
Doctorman.
mansplaining.
Yeah,
my
stop
point being is,
mansplaining, bro.
if journalists like that are getting a shake, those are the kind of journalists that are trying to get their clicks out of using Leslie as bait. That's what I'm saying. So, moving on.
People eating that shit up, dude.
On to
No, hell no, we
Cincinnati.
ain't moving on. I'm
Eating
having a
up.
shit pile of fun right now. I just feel like it's so important, really, right now in the current atmosphere that we're existing in Star Wars. And people are going to be like, no, don't cut me off. Don't tell me I can't talk about being gay and blah, 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 and all those different things. Like, this is 2022. I don't care. And Hawks, you and I have said this before. Like, I want to live on a farm next to another farm where two gay dudes grow pot with a fucking shotgun in their house. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. But when it comes to Star Wars, just leave it out of it. This is escapism. And the reason I say it's escapism is because that is such a prominent discussion in today's atmosphere. So let's get out of it for a while. Let's just go hear a story.
You
I
guys
don't
realize that, like, I mean, hold up. This might be crazy.
care. Okay.
I'm
Nuclear
glad
take?
you're sitting all down. Yeah. Y'all realize that, like, some gay people want to escape too, right?
And they can't escape if there's not a message in it.
You realize that, like, black people, they want to escape too, right? Like, Black Panther is their escape, not Captain America, right? You get that comparison, right? It's the same shit with gay.
Okay, so here's what I want you
the
to
same
do. I
shit.
want you to go to the article that I'm going to send you right now, and I want you to read what Leslie Headland said about that exact same thing.
Bro, we've been going for 59 minutes, and I'm sitting here waiting for anybody to show me a quote.
Same
I just sent it to you.
thing.
Check the
Show
Discord.
me a
Exact
quote.
same thing.
It ain't hard. I don't need a whole
Hold on.
article. Y'all can pull a quote and copy and paste that shit.
Have we like never DM'd each other? Because
It's in
you're
the-
not in like the first 112 DMs that I
It's
have here.
in the it's in the Discord. It's in the Boomer Discord.
Oh,
That article's
I
not
just
shit.
put it in Doomer.
That article is not shit.
Boomer.
It just
Oh yeah, there it is, right
certain
there.
people focus on this. I'm not trying to focus on this. I just read 2 paragraphs long about the shit that she's saying that has nothing to do with this.
And how old is this article?
It's from fucking 2021, 2020. It's way before any of the shit people are talking about now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the newest articles and stuff she's talking about now is all of her knowledge of the EU.
Right, and but that's
all
my
of
point.
the
But
shit
that's
you
my
people
point is
been
that
waiting for. Holy
they
Christ.
found out
No one can be happy, bro.
the media
None of
found
you.
out that
It's wild.
Bam, right there, Leslie Headland.
Yeah.
Talking about Star Wars. So I was just
Yeah,
writing it for
send me the
myself, and this was a beautiful way to escape what was going on in my life.
Say again. Go ahead.
Leslie Mother effing Headland talking about the original Star Wars trilogy says, so I was just writing it myself, and it was a beautiful way to escape what was going on in my life. She was writing fanfic for the original Star Wars trilogy without a fucking agenda in it.
Well, are
Yeah.
you trying to bolster my side right
yeah.
now?
Whose argument are you making?
You're
here?
trying to
I'm
We're
making
talking
the
ab-
argument that escapism doesn't have to match exactly who you are to be in escapism.
right, and that's Headland
Like,
talking about that.
yeah, I'm not 6'5" and 240 pounds with a freaking unobtainium shield or whatever the hell it is, and I can still be totally
Right.
down with that guy.
But-
I love Black Widow. Black Widow was another movie. Like, I'm not 5'4" and redheaded.
But my point.
I don't understand why you have to make it gay or not gay or black or white or whatever the case may be
just like
to
you
enjoy
said,
somebody's story.
it's not
that
just
is-
about the way you feel. Not everybody feels
not us,
exactly
bro.
the
It's not
same.
us.
It's not about us. Like you were
We're the
telling
ones
me,
who
you're
enjoy
not
the
talking to
stories.
me. You're talking to
we
them,
enjoy it.
right?
You enjoy
I
it.
am with
I enjoy
you.
it.
But there are people
These
out there
fucking
that
focus
want
on-
to see themselves represented in these shows. I'm not saying that that is what needs to happen or what should happen. But just like there are little boys that have Captain America shields, there are now little girls with Captain Carter shields. But before that, what if there was no such thing for them to dream about?
And
And then
Miss
they got
Marvel uniforms pretty soon. The
right.
whole agenda of Disney Plus right now is just to broaden.
It's
who's
women
watching.
empowerment.
No, it's
Yeah.
beyond that. It's just they want to broaden their audience as much as possible
Right.
and get their subscribers up. That's why they're putting out shows like Ms. Marvel. That's why they're going to
That-
put out different ones like that on the Star
And
Wars
Beskar,
side. too.
agree with me or disagree with me if you will or won't. There's a difference between putting female characters and male characters and different skin colors than there is about a story about putting your agenda when it comes to what you like to have sex with or what you're attracted to. I feel like those are two different topics. They are
Okay.
completely different, and they like to put them in a box and the
So I
same.
mean, we're going farther
very
than just
different.
them making a character that happens to be gay. Then basically is what you're saying. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
we're all humans,
Well-
right? It doesn't matter gender, skin color, whatever the case may be. We're all humans. But when
Okay.
it comes to like what you like to mate with as a human, that's completely different.
So I have heard
You like, well, no, maybe I got to
Okay.
backtrack that.
I have heard this
I
term
don't know. It's hard.
in excess over the last year. The MCU. Okay.
Yeah.
I
It
have
is
heard
an MCU. That's undeniable. I'm
I
going to
have-
stand by that.
okay, great. Cool story. So you're not even
Well, that's
open
me.
to talking about it and,
That's me.
and
No, I'm
and
100%
hearing the
down to
other
talk
side.
about it.
So cool, moving
100%
on.
down.
No point
100% down.
in this conversation. We'll do this over
Would
on
you listen to me?
Killmonger
I'm
stream.
telling you, I'm 100% down to talk about it.
So
Even
look,
though this
dude,
is a Star Wars channel
these-
and we're supposed to
these
be talking about
stories-
Star Wars.
Okay, well, it's just if Disney Plus's agenda, I agree, is to get more viewership.
Yeah.
Right. The incorporation of more ethnic actors is their goal to get more subscribers across the board. Correct. However, these Marvel stories in particular were written years and years and years
Oh, yeah.
ago. Okay. So if the Marvel universe was MCU, it was MCU in the 70s. Okay. Let's start there. 70s and 80s. Let's start there. So it's been that way since Jump Street.
Mhm.
So if anything, if you're calling it the MCU, you're a poser.
They're literally
Number
following
one.
the comics.
They're literally
Yeah.
following the plan that the comics took. I'm going to be specific with Thor. Everybody last 2 weeks, last month, has shit their pants because Lady Thor is coming out. Now, I'm hoping.
I'm so
my,
excited for Lady Thor.
My hope is that Disney is smart and they let Lucasfilm borrow Natalie Portman for a couple of Anakin scenes and then shoved her back over to her Thor. To maybe draped her in green screen so they can make her petite because she's looking like swole.
She's looking fine as hell.
But my point being
Always.
is this: everybody's like, "Oh, Lady Thor!" Like there was that council of women that we saw for the Thor movie that's coming out. It was what Shuri in the Black Panther, or it was
it was Bosk. It was like I'm not gonna get too into the weeds.
anyway. My point is, there's 3 women there, right? The one that Thor gave.
We're in my wheelhouse now. No,
The one that Thor gave his hammer to, right? Or the one that he gave his throne to. I don't remember her name.
Valkyrie. Yeah, Valkyrie.
Right. And then you have
Well, he
Lady.
lost.
Then you
Got
have
it.
Lady Thor, right? Jane. They're in this picture together, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, it's the MCU. Sorry, bro. These stories.
Well, no, it's
these
just that
stories-
they're pivoting from all the prominent like male characters they
But
had, and
they're
they're
in a
opening
new
it up.
phase.
More. That's
half
what
of
it
those
is.
characters are
Yeah.
dead.
That's how I feel. But
Yeah.
Half of those
That's exactly
characters
how
are
I feel,
dead.
man.
Let's be real. Iron Man's dead. Captain America's dead. Half of these characters are dead.
They
So
always
they-
come back around too.
They
Like,
have
that's
to
the thing,
pivot,
man. Like,
right? And their pivot right now is doing the Lady Thor comic with Valkyrie in position, and all of this following what they just did in this big Avengers finale that they just did, right? If this is MCU, you're a poser because these comics have been written for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know these stories were coming, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, all
you
right.
weren't
Can I
paying
rebuttal?
attention.
Can I do a rebuttal? I'm gonna raise my hand on my own channel.
Granted, the gentleman in the top.
Gentleman in the top. That's me. That's me. Hi. Long time listener, first time caller. But here's the only thing I'll say, and why I think there is weight into some of the grievances that fans have, because there are grievances as to what's going on. What is happening in the story devices a lot of times, and this is something that happened in Book of Boba Fett, I felt like, is that they're using the female characters, and they're using their how do you describe this? They're taking an original legacy character and they are dumbing them down or making them incompetent to prop up a new character. So that's something that I felt like that happened in Book of Boba Fett with Fennec Shand. I felt like Boba Fett, who was literally one of the most dangerous men in the galaxy, his father was the most dangerous man in the galaxy. He trained his son to be the most dangerous man in the galaxy. And I understand that he softened somewhat after everything that happened with the Sarlacc and the Tuskens. He became incompetent. And they propped up Fennec Shand to be extremely competent while Boba Fett was incompetent. That was my big thing there.
Okay.
And so that was something that echoed with when it came to The Last Jedi. They kind of made Luke, and it's only a moment. It's a moment in The Last Jedi where Rey just beats the crap out of Luke Skywalker, right? And he has to use the Force to stay up on the stairs. And Luke is like, oh, you just beat the crap out of me. Like, oh, let me explain myself. You know, it's those little moments
we see these moments so different.
Yeah, it was
Because
for
that
me.
moment-
it was
that
a
moment
cuck.
you're
It was a
describing
cuck
with-
moment.
That moment you're describing with Luke is him literally, I've had enough. Right? It's like he's teaching a toddler. Right? Rey is
He's
a
had
toddler.
so much from the toddler that the
No, but
toddler beat the shit out of him.
Rey is a toddler, and he's literally defending himself without a lightsaber. He's like, nope. He's defending himself without even doing anything. And then all of a sudden she grabs a lightsaber and he falls back and decides, okay, you want to see the Luke Skywalker I am? You can't even put me on the ground, little girl. And he just props himself up so he doesn't even hit the ground. Right? To me, that's a lesson. That's a
I
child
didn't-
lesson.
I
and
just
you
didn't
see it
that way.
You see it very different. Again, this is
Yeah.
probably a maturity thing. You're just not there yet. One day you will be.
Oh
Maybe
my
when your mustache
God,
can
are
come in
you
full.
kidding me?
Maybe when your mustache comes in nice and full and isn't looking like a
You
rat tail.
gotta be kidding.
I will send you to Jesus.
I guess.
But my point being is,
All right,
look,
no. Give
everybody
Gray Bear
sees
a
these-
moment to speak here.
everybody
okay?
sees these
I
moments.
brought
Dude,
him on the panel because
Nah,
Matt
skip
Cave. Matt
me for
K's
now.
been
I'm probably
getting a
gonna
little.
leave
He's
and
been
come back.
getting a little chilly here lately. So, are you frozen?
Something's going on. I gotta close and come back real quick.
Oh man, see, you scared him. I'm just saying we see these moments very different, and I feel like that moment with Ray for me was more of a teaching lesson.
Ugh.
Like she gets so pissed off that she has to escalate things to another level.
Yeah, she's got to beat literally the prodigal son.
And
with
he's
the
like,
staff.
you can't even put me on the ground. Like I'm not going to hit the ground hard because I am that much a master Jedi.
She literally hit him in the face with a metal staff.
Did he hit the ground? Like I didn't see him go down.
She hit a Jedi Grandmaster in the face
Who
with
won't
a metal
fight?
staff.
Dude, this is so Bruce Lee, bro. This is so Bruce Lee in that moment. He's like, I can't even fight you because you're not even on the level with me.
He's coming up here with me.
Right? And it's like, that's
Needs a wingman. So where were we?
I just feel like there's this massive gap, this misunderstanding between the people who are upset right now and the people who are happy. And I'm still trying to find a way for people to like kind of try to get exactly, just try to understand each other. And the problem is a lot of people who are really upset are too stupid to form an articulate argument for why they're upset. That's the bottom line. They just can't. And so they spew. And what happens is the people who are on the other side just see it as hate spewing instead of an articulate argument. And the same goes on the other side. The people who are into what's going on can't formulate an articulate argument as to why we should enjoy these things. And so what we end up with are these like rooms where people are just vomiting fucking stupid words out and calling people like Nazis and this person.
Oh, that's it. They just shut us down. That's it. You just
it-
ended the stream on your.
No, I'm not afraid to say this kind of stuff because this is what happens even in the Star Wars universe.
Welcome
I
to
had
YouTube.
a
Welcome
I have
to
a
the internet.
large I have a large friend who has a large YouTube channel, large YouTube channel. And the other day we were in a chat together on somebody else's stream, and we were talking to each other, and everything was going on. And somebody had expressed an opinion that was negative about something that happened in Star Wars. And immediately what happens, you put them in the box. They got put in a box immediately because they weren't happy with what happened with a certain show. And what do they get called? They're like an alt-right Nazi because they don't like what happened in a Star Wars show. Tell me how you extrude that information from not liking a Star Wars show. Explain that brain process. Someone, please tell me how that happens.
Because you're
Well, dude,
because-
that's
Go
what I'm saying. Someone explain to me how they extrapolate that Leslie Headland is going to make this whole show about the gay agenda just because she says some shit like, when the Phantom Menace came out, it was at a time when I was discovering who I was sexually and I was discovering who I was artistically. Bro, I was 18. I was discovering who the fuck I was sexually. She's just talking in generalizations. She's not talking about what she's going to do in the show.
Literally, all we have about the show is generalizations. We know a general
That's what I'm saying.
timeline
And
for
so
what is
people are
coming
jumping
out.
to
We
these
have a
bullshit
general
conclusions.
story.
And
Yeah.
I'm just
love
trying
it.
to read y'all her Star Wars knowledge. That's all I'm trying to show people.
Honestly,
like, she's
I
no
wanted to
bullshit
get
Star
to
Wars
this,
fan.
but X-Wing and Obsession were spitting. So
We
no,
do that
when-
from time to time.
no, when you went through that article, I just remember
Other
it
side.
kind of took me back to it took me back to like when that was being covered, and all that was being talked about is like she's hiring people that don't know anything about Star Wars. They like ignored
Oh, you remember that?
whole rest of the article, like what he just said, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
she does know what she's doing. She just
But
wants
if
some
you-
added perspective, like in the room. Like, oh no, that's
She
terrible.
doesn't need anybody with any Star Wars knowledge around her, bro.
Like
And on top of that,
imagine-
she's
yeah.
got Dave Filoni. And like, are you kidding me? She don't
Imagine
need
having
people
somebody in the room that would tell you it'd be bad for Boba Fett to only want respect.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
yes.
imagine having that there.
I mean, look, dude. Imagine that writers'
People are
room
worried.
for Dave
Imagine
and
being
John.
worried.
Those writers' rooms have to be like two, humans walking around with a bunch of monkeys, right? And then you get her coming in, going, "Holy shit, you're another human," right? Like these stories that she is going to tell are going to be epic, and anything, I mean, I don't.
See, I'm not there
What was
yet.
the name she pulled?
Oh,
What was
I
the
do,
fucking
man.
name?
She pulled-
Edge of the Empire. That shit's like a tabletop RPG.
Yeah, it's like a
bro.
table
yeah.
RPG,
My
like a
God.
Dungeons and Dragons game, dude.
Y'all don't
It's
even
like
As
know
far
what
as
you're
I'm
talking
concerned right now,
about.
like she's on a 1-year contract in the NFL. It's a prove it year. Let's see what
Exactly,
you got. I'm
and,
open.
and no matter
I'm,
what she says,
I'm
no matter
nervous
what she
about
says.
some of like KK just like preaching about the show because I hate it whenever she talks mostly. But that's where I'm at. Like, I don't know what we're getting yet. Nobody knows what we're getting. So
Yeah, I've come to the point where I've changed my tune on two things. So first thing is I've changed my tune on the fact that only Star Wars fans should write Star Wars. I don't feel that way at all anymore. I
You
really
did-
don't.
You did before Boba.
I did feel that way. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, Star Wars fans need to take over Lucasfilm so that Star Wars fans can see Star Wars. And I'm like, I take that back. I 100% take that back. Go to back whatever video it is where I said that and just down thumb the shit out of that thing because I don't feel that way anymore. I want good storytellers to make Star Wars. That's the bottom line. So this was something that came up again the other day with the gal who's playing Reva, I think. People were upset because she said, I didn't even like watch any of the Star Wars. I wasn't a Star Wars fan before that. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care.
Can
I
you
really don't.
fantastic.
Can
That's
you
fantastic.
act? You're paid to act.
That's
Jesus.
fantastic.
You're an actor. That's great. Act. If you can act, great.
Ewan and Leslie.
Ewan didn't even watch the fucking movies again until this.
No. I'm saying Ewan and Mr. I have a particular set of skills. We're really the only two, like big. I mean, Natalie Portman. There were a lot of big name actors, but George is very, very common for him to pick Muggles out of obscurity to play characters. So this feels very reminiscent of Harrison Ford showing up as a carpenter and getting an acting role. This is how that feels. If she didn't really follow it, she's not behind it. She just came in for an audition and got it. That's kind of how Hayden, if you look at some of the interviews that you guys have been reading, you know, when Hayden got that call that he got it, him and his buddies started dueling with pretend lightsabers, right? It doesn't have to be a Star Wars fan acting to me. Can you act?
No.
Can you pull this character off? That's all I care about.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, 100%. And the second one that I've backed off of, no, I'm not going to do that tonight.
Go ahead. Hot take. Nuclear take.
Bro, we've blamed KK for everything. We've blamed Kathleen for everything.
I have blamed Kathleen for everything.
I'm
He's
sure
including
I'm
himself.
the only person that
haven't.
felt that way.
I haven't.
I'm sure I'm the only person that feels that way.
I'm just saying on this council right now.
She's basically out. Ish. She's basically out ish is what I'm going to say. And I think it's time, like, we need to start putting accountability on the people who write these stories instead of KK is the problem with Star Wars. Like I said earlier, she really does need to go, and not because of what she does, but what she's done. And she just needs to boot scoot out of way, go into a nice retirement. You got enough money, go hang out in the Turks and Caicos and have a nice life. Bring somebody else fresh in and give us a fresh start. I think that's what fans need to get a restart. And I will tell you this. Hold on. I will tell you this because everybody that I've talked to that's on the hardcore, like F Disney, get the F out of here, we're never going to watch this stuff again. If there was a change in leadership, more people would be susceptible to new content. And so that's purely a business move. It has nothing. It's not. That is purely a business move to get a small section of the fan base back in. But that small section of the fan base will bring in fans. They will bring in fans again.
Depends
They
who
will.
it is, man. You can't say that. Like if it's Filoni just gets the big step up, absolutely. I don't know if he's that guy though. So
I don't want.
There are a
Filoni.
lot of people
Listen,
that don't like Filoni, dude.
Listen, I don't want
There
Filoni
are.
in Kathleen's job. Number one, he is not a CEO.
He's not. No, he's
No,
not.
probably
No.
not.
So
Well,
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Just put a
Kathleen-
figurehead. Some
Kathleen-
guy called like Tom Berenger. Just
but it's
put him in.
funny because we had these conversations almost a year ago, and I'm the pariah. I'm ostracized in the corner with my head under the dirt because you guys are telling me I'm an asshole for not blaming Kathleen.
You are
and
an
calling-
asshole.
I am, but not for not calling out Kathleen. I told you guys a long time ago, blame Pablo, blame the story group, put accountability where accountability is due, not all on one figurehead. Now, granted, back then, during the time of Solo, during the time of the prequel, she was more involved because she was giving Pablo direction.
The Force is female is the worst thing she could have done for her career with Star Wars.
But since she got promoted to CEO and got rid of Pablo and gave Filoni the executive in charge of story, everything has changed. Everything except for Boba, because, well, again, we'll leave that in the Netherverse. But
Yeah.
a lot of things have changed, and the story, if nothing else, the story is more fluid and flowing progressively in the right direction since he took over. We don't want anybody else to take over the story group. What we want is we want the Bobs both to be gone, and we want Kathleen to go with them and give us a CEO that's worried about dollars and cents, that's going to go get more games made,
A
that's going
change
to go get
of
more
leadership.
But we got a change of leadership in the story group, one thing at a time. It doesn't flow like that. They had to keep Kathleen on because bringing a new CEO in the middle of the Mandoverse would have been a bad idea. So letting this ship continue to steer itself in this direction until her next contract is over, and hopefully the other Bob will step down, then there's some room for new management. But I think we have to finish this phase of Star Wars before Kathleen will exit. We don't hear as much from her unless it's Acolyte. She's very vested in Leslie,
Right.
but we don't really hear much from her right now. And honestly, that's the best thing that could happen.
Just had this big thing in Vanity Fair. We heard a lot from her.
I'm
didn't
just
we?
saying, aside from, but we're not hearing her name on a weekly.
Where-
It's like a
where we
fucking
heard about how
four-page article.
yeah, where she knows a lot more about
But would
Indiana
that
Jones
have
than she
come
does
out
Star
without
Wars.
Kenobi?
Crazy.
Would that have come out without Kenobi coming out, though? Would it have come out if this wasn't the monster of a show that
I
it
honestly
is?
wish it never came out.
It wouldn't have. The only reason it's popular is because she led this ship from its sunken state
Yo,
to where we're about to be.
My man. You do look different. Yeah.
I got a SmackDown Anthony YouTube fan. Pablo Hidalgo has
Okay, hold
nothing-
on. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, Pablo Hidalgo has nothing to do with that, bro. Not one fucking bit. At
He's
all.
the kid in the
With the
corner.
High
collecting-
Republic?
Stop saying that. Yeah, it's not. It's the group of people that are all writing the novels and the comics now.
It's the
currently.
Charles. It's
It's
Charles
their
Soule,
own
right?
shit they were allowed to go do.
It's not.
Charles
it's
Stoll,
not
Kevin
just Joe
Scott.
Scholl.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that's the
There's
group
like
he's
4 or
been
5
brought
of
in to
them.
consult with. Is my point. It's not Pablo. Pablo.
Well,
if
And that
Charles
was
Soule,
another-
Charles Soule started there with those guys writing the comics and that shit. He has now been elevated above them. They are
Right.
still doing their own thing.
Right.
Has nothing to do with story group though, because they were told it's that long ago. Go do that. There are checks and balances in place because Yoda exists. They have their
Right.
play on the Force. They're still trying to stay within the.
But that's another
whatever,
thing,
but-
Hawks, that we've
Stop talking about
agreed-
Pablo.
we've agreed too that this is another thing. Like the High Republic could have smashed if they marketed it differently. It was
Wrong
just
medium.
another misstep. Yeah, it
Wrong
was. It
medium.
was
To think
not
that
even the
comics
wrong medium. I'm
well, to
just
think
saying that
comics
the
were in a
way
good
they
place
marketed
to
it.
launch a new shit. No.
you're in 2022,
Physical
people don't
media
read.
was down. The pandy just started. Movie theaters were down, and then they're like, everyone's gonna read comics.
No,
the
but
fuck they're not.
people don't read books. I mean,
I've been
aside
reading
from
more comics
aside from a
lately.
few people that read Star Wars books, people don't read books. People
Mm.
do audiobooks,
Mhm.
right? And so if you're
Hand in
going to
hand, though.
if you're going to release that kind of stuff, I feel like you just, like Hawk said, you just picked the wrong medium, because I think the
Yeah.
stories are there.
I'm not even gonna call it the wrong medium because I read 47 books like a month on fucking Star Wars. There's so much to really catch up on. Again, I will say it. I think that they made a major misstep in marketing. Again,
But we're talking
there was.
about the masses. We're not talking about X-wing, the fucking
I'm
scholarly,
talking about the
scholarly
masses.
reader, right?
Okay,
Like,
Imagine if like
that.
I was
Imagine if,
giving
like,
you a
the,
compliment if you wait.
What I'm talking about is the art that they put out with the High Republic, and immediately what happens? People go to YouTube. They look at, hey, what happens in the High Republic, and what's the first thing you see? You know, some YouTuber puts on a thumbnail with a half a shaved head and dreadlocks, and they're like, oh, the High Republic is woke. And so, you know, you have to be aware of that. For me, if I was in the marketing department, I'd be very, very careful about how I market my stuff, because whether you like it or not, or it's right or wrong, that's the image that you're putting out. And I get that they want to be inclusive and they want to do all these things, and I'm super down for
You
that.
guys, like, not you
No
guys.
purple,
I say you
no
guys.
purple hair. Whatever they do, just don't put anybody.
I'm down with
in
some
the
purple hair, man. You know I love Holdo. That's my
I know.
girl.
One of the dumbest,
That's my girl.
dumbest shit I've ever heard since, like, I don't know when the hell civil rights happened. Forced diversity. Like, these people gotta stop saying forced diversity. That shit's here, bro. Like, get over it. God damn. Like, I'm
no,
sick
it
and
is.
tired.
It is forced though, and
It's
that's an
not.
interesting.
Name
It is,
it.
and I'll
Go
tell
ahead.
you why.
Where?
I'll tell you
When?
why. I'll tell you why.
Pick one.
Because
I'll tell you why
people
it's not.
talk about it constantly. That's the reason why.
People who? Everybody. Because it's here. It's not forced. Everybody's talking about it.
How many movies did we watch in the 80s and 90s that had a diverse cast, and we never even thought about it? Never even thought about it.
You're
Not
right,
for a
'cause
minute.
The Breakfast Club,
simple people
the
being
Breakfast Club was
triggered by
very
shit like
diverse.
forces
Yeah, I was
female.
gonna say, can you name
never
that?
saw that
You're
movie.
right. 16 Candles was really diverse, where the odd guy was just a short, nerdy white guy. You're right. These movies were the Goonies had one Asian guy.
The 80s
Indiana
was a
Jones had one
terrible
Asian
example
guy
there.
with a
I
terrible
did watch
accent.
Goonies.
You know, there's a lot. There was not very much diversity back in those early movie days.
So I think that's what you remember. I remember movies like Men of Honor, where Cuba Gooding Jr. was the lead
That was
role.
not
and
the
he was
90s,
like,
bro.
That was not the 90s. That was
It
the
was
2000s, my
2000s.
guy.
Yeah.
You're talking about the 80s and 90s. You want to know diverse comedy? Was Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. That was
there
diversity
you go.
back then.
Trading places. Okay.
Making F-bomb jokes about hookers and blow and that kind of stuff, right?
I mean,
Like
that's what
that.
he did
that
in
was
the
top
80s.
tier
But
content.
that was
right?
but that was the 80s, and that was considered diversity.
And did
That's
anybody write an article saying Eddie Murphy, a black man in a comedy
no,
movie?
he just. You're right.
You
He
know,
just
like,
got
no,
crucified
nobody
for doing
fucking-
his show as a black man on a stage. You're right. I mean, come on, dude. Let's talk about the times as they were, not the times as they are. They were very different times for the minorities in this country to be doing their jobs, and this is even on the silver screen. The today people want to talk about wokeism. The only reason you're talking about it is because you have a platform to talk about it, because your voice is heard by 5 people on the internet, right? It doesn't. This stuff has been going on forever. There's always a form of wokeism, even though they use that word wrong technically. It's really just about how about just inclusivity? How about people want to act and be in Star Wars stories, whether they're black, white, gay, Asian, straight, trans. I don't care what you're packing between your legs. If you can act, go out there and give me a stellar performance and make
You
me
just proved my
believe it.
point. So leave everything
Right?
else out of the equation and just do the job.
But these people get asked these questions. You keep going back to this.
That's
Well,
what I
they
keep
say this
saying,
and
too. It's
that.
like, you
These
keep bringing
people
it
get
up.
asked these questions about their
It's
lives,
here.
and then they get crucified for being open and honest and telling you what you want to hear, because that's not the person you want to hear that from, right?
Imagine you're one of
about
these things,
perspective.
one of these topics, the hot topic. Imagine that's the focus of it. But you've read every single Star Wars EU novel, book, comic, and you're about to be the first person to do a live action show in that era. Probably
Okay.
the best qualified.
Mark's about to knock
motherfucker.
Oh,
somebody
look
out,
at him.
bro.
He's red.
He's
So,
good.
all right. So then I'll
going
put
down.
myself in the same kind of situation. So I'm like the showrunner of a brand new Star Wars show that's about to come out, and the person
super
who's
gay.
interviewing me. No, I'm super straight. And the guy, the guy or gal who's interviewing me is like, so what do you think about girls? How do you think about what do you think about being straight in the Star Wars atmosphere? And I'm like, well, you know, I just feel like I really got to interject my ideals about how much I like women. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not represented enough in media today, because we've really taken this turn into making sure that we have representation for gay and trans and all these different things. And I feel like it's really important for me to put my perspective of being straight into these shows. Like,
it's not. It's
no
not. A new,
one cares, bro.
but it's not.
No
but
one
it's not a
cares.
new. It's not a new subject of conversation.
Leslie Headland, if I
Han-
meet you at a
Han-
party, which I will never do, and I have a cocktail, I'm not going to ask you about your sexuality.
Han and Leia.
Bro, there's not some state
kissing
you can't
is-
get married in.
Han and Leia having this romantic relationship on screen.
You're
you don't
arguing
have
about
to
being
say
a
it.
straight guy?
It's already from the
Yikes.
perspective of straight people. Then you go
Yikes.
into the sexuality and the sexualizing of Leia by Jabba, right? And her bikini, her metal bikini, right? There was a lot of hoopla about that back in the day, about her wearing this metal bikini, or about the fact that space people didn't wear bras. And so they would
Is
have
that
to
a real
duct tape-
thing?
Oh yeah, dude.
Super straight is a thing that's offensive to Gen Z kids?
I'm triggered.
I'm
Shock me.
so out of the fucking loop,
But
dude.
that's my point.
Bro,
Look,
isn't
here's
blue
my
hair
ultimate
super
point.
gay trigger
You're
to you?
going to offend somebody no matter how you skin this cat, right? Somebody is going to be offended. Either somebody's not represented enough, somebody's too represented, somebody's not represented. It does not matter. There's always going to be something that people are going to complain about. This is the 2022. There is Twitter, there is YouTube, there is TikTok, there's opinions. Everybody's got opinions.
He's
And
not fucking
so
wrong.
we live it. Look, dude, we are not slowly. We're driving a fast car into idiocracy. Okay. And-
We are on the fast track.
right. Okay.
Some of
So
us.
everybody's got an opinion and everybody thinks their opinion's right. And instead of taking a moment and trying to see and find common ground, we choose to throw shit at one another back and forth until everybody's just Rogered. Right. So that's where I try to meet in the middle. I try to find common ground with people and try to build backwards from there, because you're never going to change somebody's perspective on something until you agree on something. Right. And if you can agree on something, then you can find something else you can agree on and something else you can agree on. But unfortunately, every generation has their thing. And that's it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Ronnie. I don't know about any of this shit.
Apparently that's the thing.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, people can say whatever they want.
Anywho, I mean, look, here's the deal. This is proof of purchase that something is going on, because we've been talking about this for 45 minutes.
Is it proof,
of
though?
purchase.
Or
It
did
is.
we all
It's-
just get
It's
sold?
proof that it's forced diversity.
Yeah.
No,
honestly,
oh
I'm
my
still stuck
God.
on-
Hawk, shut
What
the
are
fuck
you
up. That's
saying?
not what
Use
I'm
your
saying.
words, bro.
Yeah. What are you saying?
You're not
Okay,
saying
well,
anything.
let
You're
me
being
talk.
general.
I don't know. That's an idea. Let me talk before you cut in and you're like, yeah, it's proof of purchase.
I'm
You fucking
asking, is
moron.
it forced? I'm asking.
Zip it. Too early.
Can't even get a damn word in on my own channel. No,
We're waiting.
but this is what I'm trying to say is that it's not forced diversity it's a weird thing. I think it happens in some places. Star Wars, I haven't seen it in Star Wars. I'll be honest with you. I have not seen it in Star Wars. Forced
hope you mean
diversity
that.
is
I hope you mean it, bro. Because
I do mean it. I haven't seen it in Star
sometimes
Wars.
we have heated fucking conversations, and I don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, get some chamomile tea. We're cool. This happens in modern
A lot of
media
more
a
people
lot.
need to admit to that shit, though.
Forced diversity, which is a real thing. If that's what you're asking me, forced diversity is a real thing, and it does happen. I have
On
not seen it
Twitter.
in Star Wars yet. I haven't seen it in Star Wars. I don't think Reva is an example of forced diversity at all. There's just another human being who is more tan than you playing a character. So if you're really pissed about the fact that she's black, get the fuck over it. She should have been wearing a
I really
helmet.
like that the
and
first
I
time.
will-
I'm really sad that you said if her skin tone, like, just say if she's black and it triggers you, too fucking bad. Like,
I'm sorry,
I
you
mean-
can't clip that one.
but-
But all I'm saying is she should have been wearing a helmet. That would have gone a lot better. They should have really should have done different prosthetics on the Grand Inquisitor. Okay. There's some story elements that we're gonna have to deal with moving forward, but the bottom line is I think it's important that people chill the fuck out for a minute. Okay. Now I have been sitting here having a nice drink and laughing and enjoying this entire conversation. I've been laughing and smiling. We're having fun. We're talking. You all, everybody here, I mean, Green Bear's been drinking too, but I mean, everybody needs to just kind of chill the fuck out and it's fun to talk about this stuff, and we should continue having fun talking about this stuff.
I disagree. This stuff isn't fun. Because like when we're talking about like forced diversity and the gay agenda that she's possibly putting in the show, I'm looking at you like, what the hell are we talking about right now? Or like we worried about her coming in? Yeah, we worried about her coming in and putting out a show that's going to preach to people like that it's better to be gay or straight, or are we preaching about
that's never going to happen in
then
a Star
what are
Wars.
we worried about right now? That's
they're
what I'm
never
saying.
going to
like,
preach it,
yeah.
but preach it. Well, like preaching is way fucking down the road. I mean, we're talking like 6 exits down the road. That's not a thing that I'm worried about.
So
at
if
all.
we happen to have a show where like maybe they made a point to just have some more people of color, maybe they made a point just to have like 2 same-sex people married, I don't really care about that as long as it's like it's just part of the story, you know. It is what it is.
That's where I'm at. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care.
If you're viewing a character walking down the road and they're like, oh my god, hi, there's Admiral Holdo and she's walking down the road, why the fuck would I care if that person's gay or not? I don't.
I honestly, if they go to a planet and it's just only black people or only white people or only Hispanic people, I don't care about that either. Like it is, you know.
That was a real weird take, bro.
I don't know. I'm trying to like put it out there.
Well,
Like,
they
it
put
really
horses
just-
in space. I don't give a
It doesn't
fuck.
matter to me, you know. Like Black Panther did not bother me that it was a whole black cast in Africa.
I'm
And for the
really glad
record,
to hear
awesome
that.
movie.
For the record, like I get loud and shit, but I'm having fun. I love triggering chat.
Are you sure? Because you're making me worried down there.
But there's
No.
nothing
Oh, no,
more I
dude.
love in this
I get
world
heated
than
about
pissing
it.
off
Wait.
obsession.
I get
Wait
heated
until
about it
the end.
because all people want to do in the chat is call me a shill. No one's listening to anything I'm fucking saying.
I honestly-
no one
Shill.
heard any of the paragraphs I just read about
I'm
all
more
of
of a
the
shill than he
amazing
is.
shit she's saying about this show.
I think
Everybody
obsession
just wants
might
to
be
talk
more
about,
shilly
oh,
than
she's
it-
the first
oh,
gay.
I
Only
turned off
reason
the
we
chat.
want to talk
like
about
an
that
hour
comes
ago,
up in
like,
these
you guys-
articles.
You guys
Yeah.
told me to turn off the chat, so I turned off. I haven't looked at it once.
I
I think
remember
that
a
was
long
actually
time
your
ago, I
proposal.
told Holocrons, I was like, you have to remember when you're on Boomer, you can't get triggered. But he got
Shit.
triggered twice tonight.
Well, look,
You
there's-
remember? You remember that conversation, Hawks?
I don't.
Yeah,
know.
it's
We
all
talked
good,
about
bro.
it.
Like, y'all can revert to butthurt there all day. I mean,
No one listens to Scotty, man.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
Scotty
look,
got
doesn't
good
know.
points, man. He's got good points. I've had a couple
don't
people
tell
tell me,
Scotty.
like, I've heard a couple people try to tell me, like, you got to get Scotty off your panel. He's a shill. I'm like, fuck that. That's what I want. I want a differing opinion. We need to listen to opinions.
Yeah.
Some kids just never
some
learn.
people can't handle it, bro.
well, look, but that's also a large part of the problem, is that we live in a time where people have
I
ultra
gotta tear the
thin,
ears off a gun dark.
where people have ultra thin skin. They don't want to hear the other side of any argument. And unfortunately, you can't conversate with somebody that doesn't want to open their mind to things. So for me, I ignore a lot of the BS because frankly, if you don't like my shilliness, that's okay. I'm not asking you to shill, you know.
I mean, that'd be crazy coming from a guy. His name is Star Wars Obsession.
I mean, like I said, I'm a shill. Call me a shill. I mean, the only shill that I know that outshills me is Santa. But I
Comes
mean,
with
look,
territory. I mean,
everybody's so passionate about this. It's going to trigger people. I try to focus on the body of work and not the people and their personal lives. That to me, I'm not looking at who Favreau's banging. I'm not looking at who Filoni's
You're
banging.
not though. I'm kind of
Right?
curious.
Like I'm not really concerned with what they do in their private lives. And I think it should be that way across the board. I think that these kind of questions to these kind of people should be off limits.
Should be considered tabloid bullshit.
And really,
cares?
it shouldn't be
You know?
published in Time. It shouldn't be published in Vanity Fair. It should be published in the National Enquirer or things of that nature. They shouldn't even be able to ask these questions. It should be about.
well,
the
I just
content.
wish that people would be allowed to talk about this, and it doesn't detract from what they're doing with Star Wars.
I agree, but I don't think the journalists should set out with a predetermined agenda on their questions, because these people are just answering things truthfully. They're being honest. They're opening up. They're trying to get the fandom to feel who they are, to get comfortable with them, and they think that these articles are the way that's going to happen. And unfortunately, sometimes
Some people in the chat are hitting on everything you're saying. Story writing is a problem.
That actually
Pablo-
goes back to everything she was saying in the article you read. Like
Right.
some people, this is a business. And you lose the creative side because you're doing everything for clicks.
I really
Yeah.
think that aside, I mean, we'll see what happens with Andor, because I think Andor is the sleeping giant amongst the Star Wars shows right now. But I am very interested to see, and I'm almost on the edge of my seat to see what she puts out, because I feel like she comes into this thing with everybody expecting her to put out something awful. It's kind of the reverse of Robbie Rod, right? Everybody expected Robbie Rod's show to be lightning in a bottle, and it wasn't. It was like
You almost hit it in the
it was
chat.
a lightning
You was
bug
close.
in a bottle. And I think that she could do it. I think that she could make I think she could make a lot of these directors and a lot of these storytellers look foolish, to be honest.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. Obsession. When I watched her in the interviews, when she was next to the megastars, like I'm a dude. You and McGregor and Hayden Christensen. You're Obi Wan and Anakin.
You're back to Reva?
Darth Vader. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead.
You're talking about Deborah Chow.
We were talking about Leslie, but go ahead.
Oh, Leslie.
But go ahead.
So this is kind of
So
relevant.
Oh, Leslie.
Kind of relevant to the situation. When I was watching the interviews with Reva, and I don't remember her name outside of it, her actual name.
Moses
I was
Ingram.
like, dude, Moses Ingram. Yeah, thank you. I was like, dude, she's awkward. Like, I don't know if she's gonna be a good actress.
Oh.
She's nervous. Yeah, you're standing next to Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, like all this different stuff. And I'll be
The
honest with you,
sweatiest of actors / Star Wars fans. Like,
I saw myself in her, because I know, like, I would go out to film something and I would be 100% into it, and I'd be like, dude, I'd give everything, and I would be badass in like a Star Wars thing. And then somebody puts a camera in front of me and they're like, hey, you're in Star Wars. How do you feel like you did? And I'd be like,
Yeah.
I just hope I did okay. Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, unfortunately, I kind of feel for her, because yes, she is the new person in this story right now. And I'd say this because, like I said, I've caught nothing. I've caught no interviews. I've stayed away from this thing 100% as much as I could without the spoilers that people put in chat. Nobody gives a shit about her
I do.
in these interviews. At these things, people are shitting their pants that Hayden Christensen is there. People are
I
shitting
get
their
what he's
pants
trying to
that
say. I
Ewan
get
is
what he's
there.
trying to say.
Nobody knows who the fuck this girl is, right? I
She
feel
done anything
bad.
Star Wars yet?
I feel bad saying it, but nobody knows who this girl is, right? And you have to Google her to find out who she is and what she's done, which
And
I
the first
haven't.
thing you see is woke quotes by Leslie Head.
But my point being is, like,
I just tried it.
I'm looking at these things and I'm going, holy fuck, Hayden Christensen looks swole as shit, bro. That's all. Like, everything I see is like Hayden Ewan, and then there's this girl that's like, why the fuck am I on this stage with these two guys? Nobody cares about me, right?
Well,
I get it,
And
get
this
it.
is something else that, like,
and it's no dig on her. Please don't clip that how you want. I am saying, like, in standing next to two legends, two icons, I wouldn't want to be on that stage either.
I would want to be on
I
that
would
stage.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not being a co-star. As a fan, hell yeah, I want to slap both of them on
No,
the
as
ass.
a
Go
co-star,
team.
for sure, 100%.
But as a
I can
co-star,
literally shit my stand.
I'm
my
literally
pants and still
like,
want to be on that stage.
Yeah.
why?
Bearing through it.
I am a nobody compared to these
Whoa.
two. What am I doing here? Right?
So this is where I kind of, this is, for me, I'm drawing the line.
This
So
is wild.
Moses was warned by Lucasfilm about getting hate from the fandom. Now, this does come from and
Objection.
This is
Hearsay.
this is
There's
something
evidence.
that's really shitty, and it's really dirty, and it's not something that I want to talk about at all. But it is a thing, and it's something that I'm gonna say I've experienced, but I didn't experience it, obviously. Before I had a YouTube, long before I had a platform, long before anything else, I remember when The Force Awakens came out, and me knowing what Star Wars is, when Force Awakens came out and a black stormtrooper came on screen, people were like, what the F? It's a clone. Oh my God, why is a black stormtrooper in her? What the hoo? And everybody freaked out. You know, there was a lot of racism that was going on there. And then now everything that's going on with Moses, there is a little bit of that stuff going on in the fandom. And I've seen it. Unfortunately, I spend too much time in the seedier parts of the fandom, and I see what people are
Your
complaining
Discord?
about. Excuse me?
Your Discord? No, it was a joke. Relax. Calm down. You said seedier parts of the internet. I said your Discord.
Yeah, no, my Discord there is no racism that exists in my Discord at all. So if anybody's watching that's
No, that's true.
thinking about joining the Discord, that is
Somebody
not
found
a
out the
thing.
hard way.
Yeah, that is not a thing that exists in my Discord at all. And if you do even fucking try it, you're gone in a heartbeat.
That's
so
not the
please
first
don't
time you've
think
had to
away.
boot. That's not
Who's
the first time you've had to boot
apologizing,
somebody,
bro?
though.
Like-
You're really good about that. That's not the first time you've had to give somebody the boot.
But anyway, that's something that she's going to have to deal with, and that's something that's apparent. It's still there, and the problem is that if Moses Ingram met the person who's saying those things face to face, they would cower down in a heartbeat. If they're like, "Oh, I don't want a black inquisitor in my Star Wars show," and they met her face to face, they would cower in fear, right? So that's not something that I want to be. How
Why, is she a large woman?
No, I'm
Right.
just saying that person is a coward. The person that does that kind of thing
I
is a
thought you were
coward.
saying that she was a big and tall and strong.
No, it's the person who says something like that about somebody because of their skin color is a fucking coward.
Oh, for
So
sure. Okay.
all I'm saying is when we move forward in this show, because there are going to be criticisms from me in the show, I think the most important thing is that we all remember that we're just humans. Okay? We're just humans. And I'm never going to judge anybody by the color of their skin. I will always judge somebody by their... Okay, I have to back that up. I will always judge somebody by the content of their character. When it comes to the show, I'm going to judge them by their performance. And that's kind of the bottom line. So if somebody has a problem with Reva in my community, I would say it's extremely important that you use your words carefully and make sure that you create a crafted argument that is relevant to the situation. That's all
Now-
I'm going to say.
Kendall in the chat, don't forget about Trilla from the video game. She
I was
also,
just trying to think about that. Like,
yeah.
is there another human?
Trilla was the only other human inquisitor that we've met. And I think they're putting these humans in there for specific reasons. I'm not going to get into spoiler territories, but I also think it's very telling that this inquisitor has a last name. So that's all I'll really say about that. They have
Well-
given Reva a last name.
Let's let's say that I think that comment, put that comment back up.
Which one?
The last one you had. Whatever. That'll do fine. I don't think Lucasfilm warned her about the black comment in the racism that way. I kind of feel like maybe they warned her about the, hate Mr. Best got for his character, the hate that Hayden got because Hayden played an amazing, had nothing to do with race.
But did Lando get a lot of hate?
I mean,
too,
no,
though?
it's just as simple as as simple as John Boyega. It's that simple. They didn't have to go
But
any
I don't
deeper
think
than
it
him.
was just that.
He is the example.
I think this goes back to the Hayden, to the Jar Jar stuff. I think this goes the hate that they're telling her is not.
Jar Jar was like orange.
But
Yeah,
Jar
people
Jar
hate-
also,
it was the black
and
guy
like,
that played him.
and this comes
No,
from.
I'm not.
also,
I'm not
like,
saying that. I'm saying for the
Jar
fandom
Jar's
is
accent.
the fandom is already toxic.
Yeah.
Add this extra layer of race on top of it. I'm just saying, I feel like that it's not just the race comment that they're worried about that are that we got with Finn. I think it also has to do with the hate that Hayden got and the hate that Jar Jar's actor got, Mr. Best. Right? I'm getting that right, right? It's
Ahmad Best.
I would say maybe more to do with like Rose Tico.
I'm going along
things
with all
like
of this stuff. I
that,
just feel
yeah.
like you're a female in Star Wars, you're a new character in Star Wars, and people have already caught in hate to where they're suicidal because of the fandom and their toxicity. I think that was the conversation, as well as the John Boyega conversation. I think there's multiple layers to that. You might get hate conversation, not just it's because of the color of your skin. You're a new
Dude,
character.
maybe she was that green.
She's real. I'm looking at just like
She
what
might not know
appears in,
anything
too.
about any of the divide. She may have not.
Yeah.
She may have no familiarity
That's
with
what I'm
Star Wars
saying.
at all, and that's
think
literally
they're
the
just
only
giving a
reason they're
general
warning
warning.
her.
Yeah, I think it's a general
Like, it's
warning
not
because
that deep for me.
they had an actor come out that played a hated character that talked about openly wanting to, get rid of himself because there was so much
Oh, okay.
hate, right? Like I'm just saying, there's a lot of layers to that onion
Green screen broke.
when they talk to these new actors that come into Star Wars.
Green,
Right.
baby.
I'm sure they had the same conversation with John Boyega. I'm sure they had the same conversation with Daisy. These are new
Yeah.
characters. There's a lot of hate that goes into that.
Well,
I'm
because
just-
there's people out here who
Just
literally
gonna
think
roll
force
up green
diversity is a
screen,
thing.
bro.
Yeah, man, fancy.
yeah, that's how mine is.
So this goes back. I mean, Kay brings up a good point. It was a stink made about Sam Jackson. Was a stink made about Lando with Billy D. No, and that lends credence to the fact that people are sensitive to this stuff nowadays, and I wish they would be less sensitive to skin tone, which is just I can't even believe I have to say that.
Samuel
I
L.
wish-
Jackson was already the say my name again guy,
Yeah.
right? He
Oh,
was
yeah.
already hyper popular. I don't think it had to do with race. I'm genuinely having this
Well,
conversation.
imagine
He was
Obi-Wan
that
and
guy.
Anakin. Imagine Obi-Wan and Anakin walking through the Jedi Temple in the prequels, right? And they're like, "I'm going to introduce you to the Jedi Council, but you have to know, one of our council members is black." People would be like, "What the fuck?"
To be like, yeah, and Kwadi Moon,
Like, who gives a
Mundi
shit?
looks like
So-
a conehead.
So imagine Obi-Wan and Anakin walking through the halls of the Jedi Temple and being like, "I'm going to introduce you to the Jedi Council, but I have to let you know, one of our members is gay." Like, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. No one cares. Oh my God, Adi Gallia likes Vagooter. Wow, good for you. No one
Right.
cares.
But my point being is that I don't think that they had this conversation with her about being black. I definitely have.
Honestly, Obsession, I think it's like a little bit of both. 'Cause
I
you look
agree.
at just her IMDb, she's only really been on the scene since like 2018. She's
Right,
relatively
and look
in
at the
face,
little
so-
boy who played Anakin. He got a bunch of shit, right?
She has
Look at
no
look at-
idea what she's getting herself
Look
into.
at Hayden.
Yeah.
Hayden played Anakin to the T. He caught a lot of shit, right? I mean, this is a shit
Still
talking
infuriates me.
fandom, and they pick bad targets to dislike. And I think they were just preparing this young woman, saying, "Look, you're a new character. No one's ever seen you. You're new to Star Wars. This is what the fandom is like. This is what they did to Mr. Best. This is what they did to Hayden. This is what they did to John Boyega. This is what they did to Daisy. Just a fair warning. Don't listen to Twitter." Right?
And her response was just, I know where the block button is. That's
Exactly.
literally her response.
And-
Like,
and
that's
she's a
perfect.
smart
Good girl.
Perfect. But that's my point, is that they're just preparing
So,
this
no
young
worries.
woman because look, Hayden and Mr. Best got this shit back before Twitter and social media was a thing. Imagine the amount of piles of shit you get now. That's all I'm saying. They're just warning this young woman, watch your Twitter, watch your socials. Don't let this stuff get to you. You were great. You were brilliant. Thank you.
Off
So
topic,
did
but
somebody?
I was reading a
Oh,
Sam
I'm sorry, go
Jackson
ahead.
comment, and I loved it during that Lad Bible interview when Ewan's like, they're talking about what color lightsaber's the best. Like, Mace Windu's got a purple one. That's because Sam literally negotiated that as an agreement to come in the movie. Like, he wanted.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Bro,
what?
Yep.
they
He said
had
he
that
wanted to be
In your
conversation
movie,
on
but
set.
I want that purple.
They had that.
No, like he was like, I'm not coming on the movie if I don't get a purple lightsaber.
Well, I mean, I
What
don't.
was another
I mean,
clip?
I don't know how much I hold to that, because we do have that clip behind the scenes of him saying, "Well, good guys have green and blue, and bad guys have red," and he's like, "Well, what
Are you
about?"
going to admit that Sam Jackson held you hostage? I'm holding him to it because it's a way better story. It is.
No, I think Sam Jackson did his negotiating on the floor with George Lucas right there, saying, "I could leave, dog. I
There's
could
a
leave.
clip
You
of
could give me a
that.
purple lightsaber. I
Yeah,
could
he
get out of
said
here.
I get the purple one, right?
You know,
And how awesome is
and,
it that people who are creative are like, well, why does he have a purple lightsaber? Well, it's red and blue, which makes purple, which means he practices a thing called Vapod, which is between the dark and the light. Oh, like
Okay.
they made a whole ass
I love
story.
that whole thing, like the story behind it, what it is.
yeah, I mean, I totally think it's they went back and looked into it, but I think he was like,
Lore
what
in the
about purple,
chat.
dog? And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll make purple work, but we'll figure it. Oh, okay,
Purple or a
you
stripe?
have Vapod. That's it. The answer is you have a special skill that hones the dark side. That's okay. Now your lightsaber's purple. You're good.
So we're going to end on this question, and I think it's something that's important. Do you guys really think there is a significant population of Star Wars fans that are racist? Maybe because I grew up in California, I had friends of every race and creed. I just don't believe it. So for me, I don't think Star Wars fans are racist because racism is not something, or race at least, is not something that's in their mind. As a Star Wars fan, you accept everything as it is. Every race, creed, color, religion, type, what species, everything. You love everything. That's something that that was instilled, at least upon me, by George at a very young age, was that, you know, we live in a very beautiful and diverse what's the word I'm looking for? Environment, I guess. We're on like a big floating blue rock in the middle of fucking nowhere, literally nowhere. And so I've always had an appreciation for culture, different cultures, because so many beautiful different things come out of culture. Food has always been a big thing for me. Music has been a massive inspiration on my life. And so when people say, you know, like, I don't want to see a black inquisitor, for me, that's just like, it's so gross. It's like,
Yeah, it really is.
how you could never live in
Room
Star
temperature
Wars.
IQs.
Yeah, you can't live in Star Wars. Could you imagine being afraid of something like that? Like you can't live in Star Wars. So anybody who thinks that way, like, yeah, fuck you, man.
And
You
everything
can't
you
live in
just
Star
said,
Wars.
bro, is like you're seeking that out. You know what? You're actively looking for that shit. The people on Twitter and like the algorithms, bro, they push it. Both extremes. People talk about the which I don't agree with, the toxic positivity. Like those people aren't being positive. They're just being toxic. So like you can find these opinions out there, and the reason that you see them more on Twitter is because the algorithms push them. If you want to find racism, you can find racism. I don't think that a majority of anybody at this point in 2022 is racist.
Yeah, and
Look,
that's never the problem is that that's
like just a significant portion of the population.
and it's not going to go away, unfortunately, because the parents
think
raise kids and kids become parents and parents raise children. You know, that's the way it is. Eventually, someday, hopefully it'll go away. But the thing for me is like the constant bringing it to attention is causing more problems, and it's hurting it more than it's helping it. I feel like that's my personal opinion. And I get what people are trying to do, but I feel like it's hurting it more than it's helping it, because you're never born somebody who's aware of race. You're taught about race.
Last thing I'm gonna say, because I see people say it a lot, is like it's normalized when we stop talking about it. Well, we stop talking about it when it's normalized. Like normalized is normalized. It's just a part of our everyday life. People who are being triggered about things like the Force is female and etc. That shit is not normalizing it. That's where I'm at.
Go ahead, Boner.
No, I was gonna say. So
It
the
sounds so weird when you say it like that.
whatever. No, so I mean, the question was: is there a significant portion of fans, do you believe, that are racist? That's like a multifaceted question, because there's not like one definition of a racist.
No.
There's multi layers that you could, like, if you looked at me 20 years ago and asked, like, is that guy a racist? Probably would say yeah. But like, everybody grows. Everybody's at a different point in time when they're on these comment boards, when they're they're anywhere making any kind of opinion that's being heard by somebody, to the point where people are going to say some stupid stuff. Some of it might be actually like hateful and targeted like that. Some of it might just be pure ignorance. People just not knowing what the consequences of their actions or words are. So, or some people are just raised that way and don't know any better, like we were just talking about. So it is what it is, man. That's the world, not just Star Wars.
Wish I would have known I was that orange.
You're not, man. You're looking kind of green to me.
I was. It was really orange. Look, I don't think that there is. I think that people are racist, and I don't think their appreciation for Star Wars makes them neither here nor there. I think people are what they are. I happen to know probably a couple of people in the metaverse that probably are a little more, inclined to not like one group of people or another. However, I don't ask those questions, and I don't really get into that kind of conversation very often. But there's the possibility for hate exists in all of us. None of us are immune to disliking somebody for any reason. I would think that most of us are better people. But I will say this. I'm not racist. I hate everybody equally. Doesn't matter what race you are. I hate you all.
Classic.
And
I seen it. No.
to be honest, my biggest thing is I feel like we all get a little racist when there is one group of people in large quantities anywhere. I feel like we all get a little bit of that, inner, oh shit, when there's a large group of another ethnicity of people in front of us. And I think that we all have the ability to be shit. And I hope that we try to rise above as much as possible, especially in this space where we're trying to share something and have a sense of community. And I feel like those kind of conversations tear down the foundation of community and the stuff that we've accomplished in this little space. I feel like that kind of person isn't around as much as you would think.
I'm gonna push back on that with one easy, quick statement, and then we're gonna end this because 2 hours we've been on for Boomer Council. The seed of racism is ignorance, and I will say that until the day I die, because
Facts.
the bottom line is, I've spent a lot of time with a lot of different cultures and a lot of different people in a lot of different lands. I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of different places on this planet. And the bottom line is humans are, regardless, afraid of what they don't know. They're afraid of what they don't know. And it's a lot easier to hate something that you don't understand than it is to try to understand something that you don't understand. And so for me, having been through a good chunk of this earth, mostly not knowing what I was doing, I've experienced a lot of hospitality and a lot of love and a lot of acceptance from people who we don't understand here in the United States, because that's where we're all from. And so I would say to anybody who feels that way, who doesn't understand it, who's afraid of it, go out and experience it. Talk to some people. Go to a different place. Go to an island down in, just go to Jamaica. Talk to somebody and talk to them about them and their family and the experience that they've had. And you might find that you have a lot more in common with somebody who looks different than you than somebody who looks similar to you. So that will be my ending statement. Wow, what a Boomer Council.
And that concludes this after school special.
We have Obi Wan Kenobi tomorrow, coming up at midnight. So I hope I get to see you guys there. And everybody enjoy the rest of your night. Be kind to your neighbors, and may the force be with you. Have a good night.